It was a massive aerial assault. More than 330 drones and missiles fired on Israel by Iran. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says what he calls a devastating full-scale conflict is a real risk.
Now is the time to defuse and de-escalate. Now is the time for maximum restraint.
Almost all the Iranian weapons were shot down by Israeli, United States and allied forces before reaching their targets. A wounded girl, the only reported casualty.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Biden met with leaders of G7 nations and talked to Israel's prime minister, urging him to show restraint, saying the U.S. would not participate in any Israeli response to Iran's attack. 2 law enforcement officers gunned down last night in the Syracuse, New York suburb of Salina.
The SPD officer and the Onondaga County deputy were transported to the University Hospital where they were pronounced dead. The suspect was also pronounced dead at University Hospital.
Syracuse Police Chief Joe Cecil. It happened after officers tracked down the driver of a suspicious vehicle they'd tried to stop earlier. In New York City, they'll start to pick a jury today in the first Trump criminal trial.
He will become the first former president to stand trial in a criminal case, charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records, a felony. At issue is the $130,000 payment made by his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, to adult film star Stormy Daniels during the 2016 presidential campaign to keep quiet her claim that she'd had a sexual encounter with Trump in 2006.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers, the former president and presumptive 2024 Republican nominee, calls it election interference. America's listening to Fox.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is Medi-Share. Maybe you've heard switching to Medi-Share to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for Medi-Share is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Medi-Share works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 877-64-BIBLE. That's 877-64-BIBLE. 877-64-BIBLE.
The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Thank you for being up early with us. This is the Morning Extra. Tug, RHino, and Los. Whether you want to switch to Medi-Share or you want a 3D gold trading Donald Trump baseball card, we can help you out in either place.
That's what we're pimping everything this morning?
That's exactly right. Look at this thing. Now look at this. RHino, look at this thing.
Oh.
It's a baseball card.
Nice.
But it's gold foil. It's gold foil, gold wrapped, I suppose. That's
all right. That's going to throw me back.
I'm afraid to ask, to be honest with you. I just saw the ad on proudpatriots.com. I linked to it from my ex account, and stand by and I'll get you a total.
Okay.
You can get one for $29.99.
Oh, wow. That seems very inexpensive for gold.
Or buy 2, get 1 free.
No.
Buy 3, get 2 free. See how that works?
Scam.
It does a little bit. So maybe avoid proudpatriots.com.
All right.
Here, I thought we were going to start out the day with something real fancy and really amazing, and turns out it was just a flop. Fell flat.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, you know. Anyway, well, what did y'all do this weekend? Anything good?
I paddled around the lake most of the weekend. Saturday, Liam, myself, Aaron, young Seeley, and his father, Brendan, we paddled from Rope Mill all the way down to the waterfall.
How long is that? Is that a long paddle?
It's about a 3-mile round trip, so it's not too bad. I'm a little sore.
Yeah.
And then we did the same thing again Sunday with some more friends and just kind of hung out on the lake and enjoyed the weather, really, more than anything else. We had a bonfire Saturday night with some people and a barbecue. Nice day.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. A cookout, you mean?
A cookout.
Yeah, barbecue's like
that's true.
An actual dish.
That's a New York thing. We say barbecue for everything. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, that's all right. It's just different. I just
grilled out would probably be more appropriate.
Cooked out is what we always said. But Lois, what about you?
I nursed my wife back to health after a Friday night with the ladies. The neighborhood ladies, which I'm glad they had fun. But
they had too much fun.
There was a lot of text messages from all the husbands going back and forth about, So what are you doing Saturday morning? I'm doing this.
I'm holding her hair back.
I'm letting her sleep in a little bit. So it was pretty chill around the house. We're going to be in Philadelphia this upcoming weekend, so it was just trying to take care of a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we didn't do much either. Just hung out. And this weekend we're going to go to Charleston. So it'll be a travel. So I'm going to be out on Friday because we're going to try to get over and actually spend an extra day. And our son guilted us into this. We're not sure.
Did he really?
I'm not sure how this all came about.
Did Papa?
Yeah, it was kind of like that.
You know, my foot don't feel right.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of like that. I
have no money left on my food card.
Exactly. But then you would just Venmo it to him or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't have to come here, Papa.
Yeah.
Well, they said they need cash.
I just need cash.
Just send the Venmo if you can, and I'll pay for it that way. No, so I don't know. It was weird. It was one of those things where Jacob only reaches out to me if things are really good or really bad. There's nothing in the middle. Everything in the middle goes to his mama.
Sure.
And so he's been talking to this little girl, and I'm wondering if he would like for us to meet her. That is my guess, because he just met her family about 2 weeks ago.
That sounds about right, then.
I'm telling you, it was, hey, are y'all coming over anytime soon? You know, one of those just open-ended questions. No, I hadn't planned to. He was like, you should come next weekend.
I'd love for you to come next weekend.
Yeah, it was that. Exactly. So, it's weird. It's one of those things I was like,
Okay.
Trying to figure it all out.
I would have a conversation with him. I mean, I would. Not you. You as the dad would be different. My conversation with him as, let's say, a baseball teammate would be similar to the one I had when I was a freshman in college, which is when my pitching coach told me, you know, every one you have is one more you've had, and every one you turn away is one less you'll ever have.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, that is like
basically no distractions. Play ball.
No, it was like plow the field, man.
Oh, yes, I see what you say.
Plow that field, because I'm sitting back going, well, she seems nice. I had a girl who gave me a very sexually suggestive gift, and my teammates and my coach were like, dude. And I was like, well, she's just nice.
Yeah.
Like, no, take advantage of this. So that's the conversation. But that's me. That's a conversation I'd have.
It'd probably be a little less.
Narrow the field down, basically.
Go
broad, find them all, narrow it down to one later.
Yeah, see,
later.
Way later.
Yeah, no. I'm fine with way later.
After you sign a contract, maybe.
Yeah, I don't expect, this to be my daughter-in-law or anything.
No.
But there is that moment where you go, oh my, could it be? You know what I mean? So,
I mean, if you're getting introduced to parents, that seems pretty serious rather than just a, girl around the dorm.
This is like the recipe for when she's 28 and she's screaming at you in the front yard about how you took away all the fun she wanted to have in college. And how the divorce is now like on the horizon.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I might have told you so.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's...
You know what, Paul? You should have sent that money for food back in 2024.
I want to take it a little bit slower.
Yes, no.
Keep them options open for a while.
Absolutely, which I'm a fan of. But here's the thing that's hard to argue, is they go to church together, right?
Oh.
So she's a church-going child. She's, very faithful kid, and Jacob's a pretty faithful kid.
Well,
so
good.
That's been their connection. So I'm just going to let things run its course.
Well, cool. They'll turn on church and each other.
Oh, my. That'd be terrible.
It's going to be so upsetting.
Or he decided, I really want to take her out for a nice dinner. I don't have that money, but if Ma and Dad come by, they'll buy dinner.
Mom, Pa.
Yeah.
We come into town.
All of everything lining up, Rhino. I think you're over the target.
We want to get some steak.
I think you're over the target.
I like these hot dog dinners.
That's my only. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see how it all.
Much nicer dinner when Mom and Pa are in town.
Yeah. So we're gonna go over Friday.
That was for me. Like the only time I would have a nice dinner when I was in college is when my dad was in town. When he would come through, that was all right. We're gonna do some steak or some seafood. It's gonna be pretty good. Otherwise, it was. All right, where's the jar? I got to pour that into here and heat it up and put it on the pasta.
And that and the, what is it called? The galley. Well, that's what we called it in the Navy, the galley, when you go, what?
It was a cafeteria. That they would have,
but they have some sort of name for it. I'm leaving out.
Well,
anyway, he said it's terrible. Well, he said he goes there every day, but it's awful.
You have training table, but okay. There's some times when you're like, oh, this is really good. Mm-hmm. Other times you're like, I just want to get a pizza because I'm 19 years old. I'm 20 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Anything but whatever this is. Some of it is undetectable. And
it is funny.
And not knowing exactly what it is.
Me and Aaron were talking about this too. Like, no matter how old you are, when your parents are like, let's go out for dinner, you kind of almost expect, like, well, they're my parents and I'm a kid. I'm still a kid. It doesn't matter if I'm 50 years old. I'm still the kid. So they always, you wait for them to grab the check first. Not saying that you're not going to be the one that grabs it and pays for it eventually because you're older now. But there's always that first thought, like, oh, that's my mom and dad.
Right.
They're going to take care of that.
Yeah. I think we've kind of turned the corner on that one. So anytime we take the parents to dinner, we always just grab it first. You know what I mean? We just. Yeah. But I remember those days, and I would love to get back to those days. If there's a way to let mom and dad pay for it, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, of course.
There ain't a way.
We're moving this direction as my parents are all retired. My in-laws have recently become more retired. My father-in-law was working for about 10 years, even after he'd retired from the military. But they finally got to the point now where they decided, we're just going to start offloading stuff. So they decided to put their beach house on the market. Oh. And so we ended up with these paddle boards and this stuff. And I feel weird about it only because when they were working all the time, then they didn't care where cash was going. Now that they're more retired, now they're paying a little bit more attention. Yeah. And so you start seeing these things where you go, maybe I'll pick up the check next time. Yeah. We're still working, you know?
Because you're like, hey, I have a really nice basement that I like to go watch sports in. I don't want mom and dad moving down here, so let's go ahead and take care of dinner tonight.
That's true. There's a very nice RV park right down the road.
Put them on a cruise for 7 months. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Speaking of, my mother-in-law just went on a cruise.
Yeah.
She's going to be gone for 10 days or something. So we got to shoot up and check on, father-in-law, make sure he's good. Because it was a girls' trip. It's just her friends from years and years and years, and we just saw a picture of them. They look like they're at Disney because they're wearing matching shirts and breeches.
Oh, okay, of course.
I mean, they look like Bob's twins. Like their mother dressed them that way.
Nothing sillier than a whole family wearing all the same clothes.
Yeah, it's all four of the ladies, and they're in their late 60s, whatever, and mid to late 60s, and they're all wearing the same thing, and I couldn't help but laugh at it. My wife thought it was the cutest thing ever. She was like, "It's so cute," and I was like.
There's a time and a place for all that.
Yeah, no, it's not.
There's a time and a place for all of it. Like, we have our version, this weekend.
Yeah.
The parents all coordinate when it's time to wear the Mo Betty versus all y'all sweatshirts.
Okay.
That's our team name. Mo Betty.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of fun when you're at a tournament and it's like they all got on Mo Betty versus all y'all.
I'm down with that one.
That's
though.
That
one, I think so too.
But still,
Rhino.
Walking around Disneyland, and you're wearing ears, and your daughters are wearing ears, and you're all watching.
I've done it.
Family
vacation. We've all had it where it's always the first day of Disney. It's all right. Here's the one Disney shirt I own, so I have to wear that because all the girls are wearing their stuff, and again, they're not identical. But I get it. Sometimes you want to have a crowd of people, a reunion and stuff.
I think that's different though, where everybody wearing Disney. It'd be like everybody going to a Braves game and wearing a Braves shirt.
Sure,
but they're all different Braves shirts.
You get a pass for Halloween, all kind of dressing themed.
Okay.
You get a pass when you're wearing similar theme things.
That's right.
But if they're exactly the same, or if you have a hat that says Carlos, your wife has a hat that says Allison, and your daughters all have hats, and they all have ears on them, then we're talking, it's a little weird, man.
It is so weird. And that's why my mother-in-law, when I saw that picture, I was like,
it's time and place. You do it at the office, it's weird. You do it on a cruise, all right, kind of novel, kind of different.
Okay. All right.
So we can't all just dress alike.
If we were all to wear shirts here that just said Tug, and we were just wearing them around the office, it'd be a little strange.
It'd be weird.
It's like, why do y'all have shirts that just say Tug on them? It's like, why not?
Why not? We're big Tug fans.
It's the Cornbread Country Club.
We like hanging out.
That's right.
That is funny.
Tug.
Yeah, it'd be so weird. having a shirt with your known name on it.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing
wearing
it.
Wearing a Rhino t-shirt.
I'm not doing it.
Joe says, board up Joe Virgin River. Yeah. Los has got his
We all
own
walk together.
Dr. Medina,
Yeah.
it's all in the same script.
With all MAGA extremist hats on.
That's exactly right. That's so good. Yeah, well, so that's the way it goes, man. That sounds like a pretty good weekend for everybody, and hopefully the week will be in motion and everything's good, and World War III won't begin. Got my fingers crossed.
You never know.
You never know.
We got a shot.
Well, dude, if Lowe's, can you handicap it? You're the gambler. Could you put a number on it so we know if World War III is going to start?
Well, it was about I would say a 5% chance as of over the weekend. That's now we've now reached into like the 35% chance.
That seems about right to me, Rhino. But you know what? You got Joe Biden up there saying don't, and that's worked so far.
Oh, yeah. I mean, maybe some more sanctions. Maybe maybe send them more money. Just make sure they use it for humanitarian needs.
Yeah.
Because this is their humanitarian need in their mind is to destroy Israel. So I guess that works. We've done nothing but shown weakness throughout this entire weekend. I mean, that's all I've seen is weakness, weakness, weakness.
Well, as a patriot, I want to see us, even when we're under a different set of administrations, I want to see us doing the right things and doing well. Oftentimes you will have the communists always messing up domestic policy because what they do is they look at foreign policy and they go, all right, the only way we get to influence domestic policy is by trying to do this well. So let's try and do foreign policy well so we can mess things up in our backyard. What happens when you're messing it up everywhere? And that's where it's at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got the FBI director, Christopher Wray, saying, hey, we got blinking lights everywhere. There's no doubt gangs and sleeper cells are in the U.S. Mm-hmm. This is coming. And they don't do anything to fix the southern border, except for when Biden sees the polling numbers that Hispanic voters at a 40% clip are like, we want a border wall from sea to shining sea. I mean, so they're like, oh, we are eager to do something about it.
Who told you that one first?
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm telling you, there's nobody who cannot stand illegal immigration more than Hispanic Americans.
Exactly right. And so now they're panicking about that. So end of last week, Rhino, you heard Biden saying, oh, I'm eager to do something with the executive order. Like, what are you waiting on?
Yeah.
And then for the whole attack on Israel, thankfully, the Iron Dome does what it says it is supposed to do, and the allies rallied and did help, and even Jordan helps.
Sure.
So it didn't turn out as bad as it could have. But when you got you're juggling all this, and it just starts, you see the balls start dropping, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a good defense and good partnership that happened throughout all the allies that were out there that did not want to see what Iran was trying or attempting to do. I think Iran knew that, most of the drones that they sent over would be taken down one way or another, whether it was by U.S., Israel, or, like we said, those allies.
France, Jordan.
I don't expect Egypt, Jordan, or anyone else to really align with Israel. I just see that they go, hey, this is probably too much, the wrong way to do it. Don't think this is over. Iran will adjust. This wasn't their plan. Their plan, like you said, probably involves any kind of country that doesn't have any kind of border security. Their attacks are usually from the inside. Their attacks are usually suicide attacks of one kind or another. That's what those drones were. They were suicide drones. That's what they were going to do. So I'd be nervous from here on out. And unfortunately, our president has no idea how to handle this.
But we're not supposed to have proxy wars turn into legitimate hot wars. That's the whole game of the danger of what we're playing all around the world. And here we are on Saturday, and this is why it was so upsetting to me, because everybody knew that the Iranians were going to do this to Israel. And what did we do? Yeah, we got involved. We helped defend it. And then we said, okay, well, let's show some restraint. The Jerusalem Post flat out said, hey, the Iranians involved the Turkish people. They then also contacted the United States. Everyone knew they were going to attack. And yet we went, all right, well, we'll just try and defend them.
Yeah.
How idiotic is this?
Well, it's
stupid.
When it's your greatest ally and the only free society in the Middle East, and you sit back and sit on your hands and say, no, we're not going to do anything.
Because another sovereign country launched on a sovereign country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is no longer just some weird war in basically a weird part of Europe. This has now turned into this potential global conflict. And what did we do? We went, all right, we're going to defend you. And then we're going to say, okay, now everybody stop.
Everybody stop.
Yeah, we're going to sit
and by the way,
hands.
we'll fund each side of this thing.
Yeah, but see, that's the biggest problem.
That's the scary part.
That's where it all comes from. It's unnerving how much that we are funding all, and you could say the same thing about Ukraine. You say the same thing about COVID, and Lowe's has been the leader of the charge, man. And it's hard to look at our own country being the bad guy, the bankroll, and yet in every situation we are.
Keeps happening, isn't it?
This is the breakdown. Okay, it's this easy. The dome system you saw, we funded that. The missiles on the other side coming, we funded that.
It's awful.
It's
awful.
And it's so strange that because the only the really weird lefties came out over the weekend to then defend all of this stuff and try and explain about how we actually we let them keep their own money. I'm like, do you realize why we froze the money? Because we know where it goes. It goes to terrorism.
That's exactly
it's like, well, it's their money. I don't care. Guess there's a crazy person. They have a gun. Do they get to keep that gun? I'm like, no, I'm going to take it away from you.
Of course, man. I met this guy, and it was just random. We were standing talking over the weekend, and he was from Texas, and he was visiting Atlanta, and he's the one that brought everything up. I think it's just on his mind, and he started to vent about it. And he was like, you know what, man, I served in the military. My family, all my sons have served in the military. I hate to see us on the wrong side of everything. He was like, and we are. And this was a random conversation, not poked, not prodded. We were just talking about how nice the day was, and it led into that immediately because it was on the man's mind. It's unreal. It really is. This is the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Talk a little bit about DOG because he got the old snip.
Yeah.
Hoping he's doing all right. Next on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Extra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
Now, Flounder, let me ask you this. Have you ever known anybody who's had any Willie Nelson weed?
I've tried the Reserve. It's a strong indica, yeah.
It's a what?
It's a strong indica.
Indica. Now, what? I don't know. Is that from? What does that indica mean?
Indica, sativa and indica. So there's two different strands of marijuana. Sativa, which is more upbeat, and indica, which is more relaxing.
Yeah. You keep playing ignorant.
Yeah. Sure, Mr. Bakery.
Shut up.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
First thing I did this morning, grab a Hall's cough drop. We have them in here in the studio because this time of year, it's just crazy how much pollen's floating around, how you got runny nose, and how you got so much just indigestion. You got so much, I don't want to say snot, but I guess I'll just have to say snot. Snot all backed up in the back of your throat and the back of your nose. You see, all of that, when you spend time outside, you kind of expect. But what if you don't spend a lot of that time outside and you still have it? Because your house has all that pollen in it too. It ain't escaping the house. It's not escaping the air quality. If it's on the cars, it's in the house. That's why it's so important at Central Heating and Air Conditioning to get their air purifier products.
You talking to me?
Yes, Los, I am.
Pollen.
That's right.
Don't want me in your house, huh?
No, I want you to stay out. That's why I called Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Oh. And they've got these filters to keep you, Mr. Pollen, out the door.
It's dangerous.
You are dangerous, and I don't like you. And I wish you'd go away. And if you want that same thing, they can help you out. They can clean the air in your home. Filter it out. Of course, they can take care of that heating and air conditioning. That's what they do. Maintain it or new one. But if you want to keep Mr. Pollen out of your house, then you better call them today. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com.
Spring is the perfect time to bring a group out to a game at Truist Park to enjoy great weather and Braves baseball. Come experience the brand new private Jim Beam Bourbon decks located on the lower level down the left field line. The Jim Beam Bourbon decks have a great view of the field while incorporating a private setting and bar access for your group to easily socialize while you cheer on the Braves. Visit Braves.com/hospitality to snag this amazing new space for your crew this season.
Ozzy's punished another one. Make it 2-0 Braves.
And come experience experience another brand new space in right field, the Blue Moon Beer Garden, offering the largest variety of Molson Coors beer options and unique food pairings. And there's a special ticket offer for any weekday game during the regular season. Tickets are only $30 and include a grandstand reserved game ticket and $15 added value to use toward food or beverage. A limited number of tickets are available for this special offer, so lock in your seats now at Braves.com/Blue Moon. Atlanta Braves baseball. We are Braves country.
My name is Amy Risley. I have been working for Bruce Hagen for 17 years. When I first started, my boys were 4 and 6, and whenever I needed, Bruce allowed me to bring them to our office. Bruce has always treated us like family, and 17 years later, I still love coming to work for Bruce Hagen. The best part of my job is when I get to put a settlement check in the hands of someone Bruce won a case for and see it change their life. I'm Amy Risley, and I work for Bruce Hagen. Let Bruce Hagen work for you. Hagen-law.com.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the podcast park. See you around, Atlanta.
Introducing Sonder Health Plans, your trusted local partner for Medicare Advantage in Georgia. Only in Georgia. With Sonder, you'll get comprehensive coverage that's tailored to your needs. They offer $0 primary care visits, $0 premiums, and access to a wide network of Georgia healthcare providers. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com now to learn more about their value-based care that won't break the bank. Or call 888-428-4440. Sonder Health Plans, your doctors, your neighbors, your friends.
Do you know that most people describe remodeling as stressful? Does that sound like your experience? Hi, this is Candace from Excavations, and have I got a tip for you. With Excavations as your partner, you'll get a completely different remodeling experience. How? Well, besides covering the very basics like showing up on time, cleaning up your property each day, not smashing your flowers or bushes, and not pressuring you to buy today because this huge deal expires tonight. We also cover the big things like a written project schedule so you know when workers are coming and when they're not. A fixed price quote so you're guaranteed that what you pay is exactly what you committed to up front. And a design of what your home will look like so you're not left guessing if you're even going to like the finished product. Discover what stress-free remodeling looks like and schedule your free quote today at exovations.com. That's EXOVATIONS.com.
Look out, it's only me. It's only the Kimmer. You know, you can download the Kimmer podcast on the Extra 106.3 app, along with a ton of other great shows. Go get it for crying out loud now on Apple or Android.
R.I.P. Pour out a little sip for Toby Keith.
I'll bet you never.
I'll just never get. This is one of those that'll going to stick with me for a long time. Anytime, and maybe it's just because it's fresh. Anytime I hear a Toby Keith song, I'm like, damn.
Oh my God, I just forgot he passed away.
That's what I'm saying.
You
You're
just
like,
said it.
Damn. The worst.
Yeah. I randomly keep thinking about just different songs.
Like Toby songs?
Yeah.
Okay. Dude.
I don't know why.
Ain't as good as I once was is my favorite. My favorite. Hands down.
Yeah,
my
it's a
favorite
great
Toby song.
For instance, when that has hit my head a number of times, only because I've been watching these Cowboys, or in DallasCowboys.com does these great draft podcasts, and I've been listening to a handful, and they will come back with this song every now and then, and I'm like, Toby Keith, but it hits you suddenly. You're like, man, Toby's gone.
Yeah, how can that be so? And there's a great, if you like country music, and I promise not to spend much time on this, but if you like country music, there is a album that came out 2 weeks ago by the artist Hardy, and he does these off album cycle projects.
Yeah.
And they're called Hicks tapes, and there's all kinds of mixes, and some of them will show up and be hits, and some of them won't, and it's fine. The one that he did 2 Fridays ago was of Joe Diffie, which I grew up the biggest Joe Diffie fan in the world. Joe passed during COVID. Mm-hmm. He had a lot going on. He
liked to drink.
Yes, he did. He ever?
There's a reason he sung about propping him up by the jukebox with that drink in his hand.
Ever. Good Lord. Anyway, point being, all those hits, because Joe had probably 10 number one hits in country music. The last song that Toby Keith recorded was for that. He had just gotten better from cancer, relatively better from cancer. He recorded, and Mark Wills, who lives in Marietta, was on it. Man, there's so many people. There's like 25 different artists that are on this, but the last thing Toby ever recorded was for that. So if you're a Toby fan, go back and listen to it. It is so good.
I always wonder, like, it's so sad that, like, when you see, like, someone like that, Toby, pass away. Willie Nelson, he's obviously got this thing going, right? Then you look at, like, Keith Richards, and you're like, I don't know how these guys survive. And now I'm starting to think, like, we should all be doing lots of drugs, apparently. Because they live forever.
Yeah. The song that they did was called Ships That Don't Come In. And let me tell you, it's one of those heartfelt, it's just the missed opportunities of life. And it was a number one hit for Joe Diffie. And that was the last song that Toby recorded. So go listen to it. It is so good if you like Toby.
I don't mean to bum you out, so I'm going to end this the right way.
Oh, hell.
Because, yes, we will lose Keith Richards at some point. Mm-hmm. YouTube, okay? Like, back in the day, during Super Bowl week, they used to actually give regular media the microphone when they would introduce the act. So if you went to go see
Yeah, dude, I used to do it all the time. I got to bring George Strait on stage one time. That was the greatest moment of my life.
But you get to ask a question, right? Mm-hmm. So you can ask a question to the Rolling Stones in this case.
Oh, I thought you meant at a concert. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
But again, you've done that. But I'm just saying, it's like, so here at the Super Bowl act, it's Prince, and they hand you a microphone. You get to ask Prince a question. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Friend of mine, a guy I used to work with, Corby Davidson, would always look forward every single year to asking this question. And he posed it. You can still find it on YouTube. He asked Keith Richards. He goes, they've often said that when there's a nuclear war, there will only be roaches and Keith Richards left. How do you plan to deal with the roaches? And Keith Richards dies laughing. He just goes, I'll eat them. I'll eat them all.
Yeah, I'll eat them all.
I'm like, that is Keith Richards to a T, man.
That's so awesome.
I'll eat them.
Oh, it's a great. I've seen the. Yeah, that's a funny YouTube.
How do you plan to deal with the roaches?
Yeah, I'll eat them. In that British accent. No. Oh my gosh, I love Keith Richards. I love the Rolling Stones. I believe, and y'all can argue this if you'd like, I believe that Keith Richards doing Satisfaction is the greatest guitar riff of all time.
Oh, for sure.
So legendary. It is my absolute favorite. So another one. Man, y'all have me this afternoon, or not even this afternoon, at 10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock, 10:01.
Dude, it's going to be the Tug mixtape, and it's going to be the Toby Keith and Joe Diffie and the Rolling Stones and everything in between. And that's the way I'm going to start my weekend.
I love that.
Listening to my favorite stuff. And because I've already got to hang out with my favorite folks.
You know what I get to do today? I get to go pick up DOG from the vet.
Oh,
Today's the day. Let's get him snipped.
So you're picking him up or taking him?
No, I'm not taking him. I'm not going to be the one that drops him off to get that done.
It's funny you say that.
That'll wreck a dog.
Okay, because my wife...
I'm going to pick him up and pretend like, oh my God, I'm here to rescue you.
I was talking to your sweet girlfriend, Erin, about the same thing. My wife will not drop off our dog to have it done. She's like, I'll go pick him up. I was like, he ain't going to remember that.
Right.
He ain't going to remember that.
Oh,
and she
they will.
argues, and I don't believe that they'll remember that. Y'all clearly do.
I do. I believe that what's going to happen is Aaron is going to put the dog in the car today, drive him there. He's going to be like, all right, good. We're going to go meet a girl. I'm finally going to be able to have the babies I've always wanted.
That my natural urge?
Yeah, my urge is I want to be a father dog, and I want to have puppies, and I want to take care of them. So she's obviously taking me to meet a girl.
He wants to be the dog father.
And then he's going to find out that's not why he was there. And I'm going to come in there, and I'm going to say, I'm going to run in the room and be like, TOG, I'm here. Oh, no, I'm too late. It wasn't my idea, son. No! It wasn't my idea. No. Yeah,
who did this?
Who did this to you?
Whoever did is a devil. It's a devil that did this to you.
I'm setting it up, and I'm going to remind him every single day that I had nothing to do with this.
Gosh, he sounds just like my wife.
My dog only shakes at two things. The groomer,
the vet.
And those are the two. Other than that, she's like the happiest dog in the world, and I'm the one who takes her to all of it. I'm like, I'm the poor guy.
You don't take him to the vet. You pick him up from the vet. They're like, you rescued me. Thank you.
See,
thank you.
I don't believe.
And then I'm going to cuddle him for the next 4 hours today.
Y'all believe it. I just want to get a temperature of the room. Joe, let me board up Joe in. Dog realizes the person that drops them off for haircuts, snips, or vet visits. Yes or no?
Yeah, they
well,
know.
Okay.
They know. I'm telling you.
Are you okay with this when Cash turns around and looks at you and goes, I don't want to be your friend anymore?
Yeah, I just don't think
how could you do this to me?
No, I think it's so traumatic, they're not going to remember who dropped them.
She's very happy when I pick her up
Yeah.
But it's almost like Stockholm syndrome. Like, you did this to me, but you also rescued me, so I'm like indebted to you.
Yeah. But I'm not going to, it needs to be done. It's for his health, and I know that, but it's really hard. But last night, we were trying to sleep, and he creeped up behind me like Joe Biden, just sniffing and drooling in my ear, like, just breathing heavy. And I'm like, dude, yeah, it's time for you to go, man. This is too much pain for you, brother. I tried to come up with every way to help him out. I was like, bro,
we're going to have to make a change.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Sorry. It's got to go. It's going to be better in the long run, son.
There's an old country song that I grew up on called War is Hell on the Home Front too by T.G. Shepherd that was in the 80s. The Democrats are at war.
Yeah.
Problem is,
I know that song, by the way.
Do you? It's a good one, man. It's a classic. I knew you. I figured you might because you're a classic.
Get with me until it's
Ooh, war is hell on the home front.
Okay, take it away, Rhino.
There you go. The Democrats are at war with themselves.
Yeah, and this is a state war now, but we've already seen progressives versus, the regular, what they call moderate Republicans, and we see what the Democrats are doing to their own party. Well, here in Georgia, we got even a funnier thing going on right now, and it involves State Senator Elena Parent and Nadine Thomas, who is her Democratic primary matchup. And I have now realized what the Democrats are doing. See, Democrats won't go out there and tell you, this is what Joe Biden's doing. It's great. It's great. This is what, we're doing. It's great. It's great. It's always Trump is bad. Trump is bad. They are fighting so hard against Trump, they can't even tout their own accomplishments because there really aren't any. And what has happened here is Nadine Thomas puts up a tweet, and I thought it was really funny, and it puts up a tweet of Elena Parent right in front of the January 6th Capitol riots with it in the background saying she's a MAGA extremist. So Elena Parent, who of course is a Democrat, and is already in position here as our state senator, I don't know if she's a MAGA extremist. Maybe she is. Maybe Nadine's right. Now, of course, this is something that is a way to accuse them of suppressing black voter rights because Elena Parent's white, Nadine Thomas is black. So now you have a race card game being played in this area where the Democrats are fighting amongst themselves.
You know what's so strange about this? We do this to establishment Republicans. We do this to uniparty people. This is part of our arguments that we have. The Democrats are so different in that if you're not Communist Party enough,
that's right,
then they turn on you. But it's like if you stay outside of if you act like John Fetterman, like right now they're like, do we need to take his card away?
Seriously, Hillary Clinton's looking to him.
And so the argument between those two within this state is, well, who's more communist enough?
But that's something that you've brought up for so many conversations that we've had on the show is that the revolution is the word I'm looking for.
Oh, yeah, the revolution.
It just never ends.
It never ends now.
And that would lend itself to
now,
always going after people because you got to continue it.
Well, as Rhino's telling you, they're both trying to play this game of like, who's more revolutionary?
That's right.
Exactly. And then Parent goes back and she goes, well, Vernon Jones likes Nadine, and Vernon Jones, he's a Trump ally, so she's definitely the MAGA extremist.
She's guilty by association.
Yes. They're just going back and forth, and I find it really, really funny that this is the way Democrats, they won't go and go, hey, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking to lower taxes in this area of Decatur. I am trying to make sure that Decatur has everything they need. Clayton County is taking care of blah, blah, blah. This is what I want out of this, blah, blah, blah. It's you're too Trump, or you're too progressive, or you're too much of this, you're too revolutionary, as Carlos said.
Can I play Liberal Aunt Peggy?
Please do.
Yes, absolutely.
I love when you do.
And Rhino, as you being Rhino, let's pretend you're part of the Democratic Party.
Okay.
You pretend to ask me, Liberal Aunt Peggy, about which one I prefer.
Okay. Wait, which what?
Which of the two? Between these two candidates
that you're just talking about.
Okay. I have two candidates, Elena Parent and Nadine Thomas. Who would you like, Aunt Peggy?
Which one's going to work with Trump?
Well, they both might.
I can't vote for either one of them.
I'll stay home.
I'll stay up.
But that's the way it is. That's the differentiator.
Yeah.
Like within that mindset, it's will they fight him on 99% of things, 100% of things? Because if they'll work with him on 5%, you don't get my vote.
No, absolutely not. Because he is the devil.
He's the devil.
They can't look past their emotion, their hate, and it's kind of like we talked about with your wife, who's a sweetheart. voting against your own home.
This feels like, with all due respect.
Yeah, well, no, well, but my pick is the same person.
But think about it, how silly it is when Rhino brings up, okay, here are a couple of these candidates, and the only differentiator between the two, so far as they can tell, is, well, I might work with Trump on something that makes sense for the country. Well, we can't have that.
But that's the whole point, right? They will vote against their own interests because of their hatred. It doesn't matter that it would be better for you. And I think I said this a couple days ago. Like, you already know what Biden's going to do. You already know. And if you vote for him again, it's going to continue going down. Nothing's going to change. So, but you're willing to, because you hate Trump so bad, that you're willing to either not vote at all or vote for him again against your own interests.
So I could play this theater game again, but I won't. But I'm just going to give you an example of how this works.
All right.
Think about if one of these candidates were to say, hey, Donald Trump is proposing that abortion is legal all the time up until third trimester, all the way through third trimester, and I'm going to vote with him on it. Mm-hmm. That other candidate's going to go, why is she working with Trump?
And make that a campaign point.
Exactly.
Right. No,
like, he works with Trump on major legislation.
MAGA.
Yeah.
Even though it's what you want.
And that's exactly what you want. But it is funny because Nadine, the one that got her was, or one that got Elena Parent very upset was, why is Elena Parent using MAGA tactics to suppress black voters' rights to fair and equal representation? None of them have gone, hey, this is, again, they just keep going back. No, you're more MAGA. No, you're more Trump. No, you're more Trump. This is what these people continue to vote for, whoever's less Trump.
It's funny because there was an article, I was trying to look it up as you're talking and I can't get to it, but it was the New York Times, and they had an article about the deep state, because we always talk about that. And their article was, the deep state's actually better than we thought. And it reminds me.
4 years ago, they're like, it doesn't exist.
Now it's even better than we knew.
The deep state's amazing.
But it goes back to that. It's that same kind of thing where, like, you hate it so bad. You hate Trump so bad that you denied it. And then now that it's against him, and, okay, we've admitted that it's real, and it's against Trump, we love it. It's amazing. It's amazing how these people think. The emotion that's involved, they can't put it down.
No. You could give Aunt Peggy like 98% of what she wants, but if it's delivered to her by Donald Trump,
right?
Never.
You could read all the accomplishments.
Just send it back like an Amazon package.
Read all the accomplishments. Even take some of the things he said and read it to her. She'd be like, that sounds like a great candidate. And then go, that's Donald Trump.
She'd die.
Oh, yeah. Not in the interest of giving you tired head, but the perfect example of this is the COVID vaccine.
Oh, no doubt.
Because leading up to the
not
election,
a chance.
Never. I'm not touching it. As soon as it's all over with, how many can you put in me?
That's right. Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3 when we come back. When it comes to transitioning the sex of a child in America, we are the extreme outlier. Next on Extra 106.3. We're on the air until 10.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays. Anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Extra 106.3 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons. We've always been Atlanta's best at installing and servicing garage and entry doors, but you would be surprised at how many windows we've installed as well. So we're proud to announce a new division, All Four Seasons Windows. We now have the ability to make sure every opening in your house is safe, energy efficient, and looks darn good. So give us a call today to schedule your free sales consultation. Find out how you can decrease your energy bills and increase the beauty and value of your home with All Four Seasons garage, entry doors, and windows.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 770-627-3235 or online at atlbail.com.
Well, Michael, I want to thank you for your time, but unfortunately, we can't offer you the position.
Why?
Well, we got the results of your background check, and quite frankly, we were concerned.
About what?
Apparently, you were arrested for throwing a shopping cart at a customer?
In my defense, he had it coming.
At Horizon Background Screening, we find things that other companies don't. That's why companies that use us make smarter hiring decisions. Don't let the wrong hire put your company at risk. Get the real story on your candidates at horizonscreening.com.
It's a mad world out there, but one thing is certain, everyone is trying to market something. So tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. to the Marketing Madmen, who, along with a variety of industry expert guests, can help you make sense of it all. Whether you own a business and want tips to scale, or are a fan of the finer things in life and want to know how restaurants, golf courses, and wine companies try to sell you stuff, the Marketing Madmen is your ultimate destination for all things marketing. Tune in right here on Extra 106.3 every Saturday at 3 p.m. or search online for more content. Join the madness with the Marketing Madmen.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
What are your plans for your business this year? Hey, it's Tug. Do you want to expand and grow? Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you got a new person to deal with? You have to start all over again? You don't have that with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they want to know you. Unlike big banks, they want to partner with you. The Frost family knows the patterns. They know the ebbs and flows. They know business. Get to know them at firstlibertyga.com. Building a building, buying a franchise, expanding. Reach out to them. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. You do that at firstlibertyga.com. And by the way, if you're a young banker and want to work with a team that is faith-friendly and has a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to them today. First Liberty Building and Loan. firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
All right, here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, April 15th. Don't have to tell you what that day means.
Oh, it's the day the Titanic sunk.
Ah, there you go. And so did my finances.
Everybody else's too, buddy, I think.
Yeah, it was not fun yesterday afternoon going, send.
Mark Cuban did his part, though. That's what I read this morning. Atlanta police are investigating after a man was shot and killed in the parking lot on Joseph E. Boone Boulevard. Officers say the victim inserted himself into an argument between a separated couple. The man had been shot multiple times and was rushed to Grady Hospital, where he later died. There has been no word yet on any arrests. DeKalb County police responded to what they labeled a domestic violence call and confirmed that there was no threat to the greater public after a woman was shot in the head and died. Police say 23-year-old victim Shanae Smith was allegedly shot in the head by her 24-year-old boyfriend Keir Schloss. Smith and Schloss lived in a townhome together. Schloss has not been taken into custody as of yesterday afternoon. Police ask if anyone has information on Schloss's whereabouts to call 911 immediately. And in sports, Scotty Scheffler closed his Masters performance with a 68 to capture his second Masters victory. And Marcell Ozuna waited until there were 2 outs in the ninth to crush a slider over the center field wall for a 3-run home run and gave the Braves a 9-7 victory over the Miami Marlins. The Braves went on to win 2 out of 3 from the Marlins. The Braves will head to Houston tonight to take on the Astros. Darius Vines will take the mound for the Braves in an 8-10 start.
Man, I tell you, Marcell Ozuna, he almost hit 2 others out of the ballpark.
Yep. Smashed him against the wall. I mean,
absolutely.
The wall one that he hit in the 7th that got them back in the game. game.
Yeah, that was the
after
double.
After they had given away that lead, and then okay, you're down to your last strike, and you hit that ball out of the ballpark. That was pretty cool.
That was crazy.
I love that guy.
Dude, I love that guy.
It's funny.
Boy, have times changed.
No kidding.
Since the beginning of last season to the beginning of this one.
So I do the vault over on our sister station, and I will do number projection.
Yes.
And I had one of our coworkers change up my numbers, which that's not permitted. I had basically taken what Marcell Ozuna did last year, and I put a little reduction on it. But understand, the man didn't hit for like the first 40 games of the season.
And then all of a sudden.
And then went crazy. He's just started off by like, all right, I'm just going to stay as hot as I was last year.
Just continuous.
I love it, man. It's so much fun to watch.
And numbers look good right now when I'm starting to do all my projection stuff.
Yeah, right.
Outside of Spencer Strider. But hey, everybody else.
Okay, well.
This team is hitting more doubles, and they're hitting the ball at the ballpark just like they were doing last year.
Tell me somebody that saw the Spencer Strider thing coming in your defense. I mean, who saw that coming? There's no way you can predict that. So, yeah, you might have gotten that one wrong, but okay, so did everybody else. There's nobody getting that one right. And like the good Lord in heaven's the only one that knew. Well, boys, I hate to tell you. It's coming.
Let's humble him a little.
Yeah, exactly. Let's calm everybody and Spencer down.
See, poor Tug was feeling it on a Monday, and we just had to get him talking a little Braves baseball.
Now I feel
look at him. He's smiling.
Now he's back. I'm back, boys. And watched the Masters yesterday. Holy cow. It was unbelievable. And there was a bunch of country stars out there, too.
Of course.
I saw the country stars posting their
care
pictures.
about them?
Well, I do. I think it's cool when they show
Those
up.
are all Tug's friends. What are you doing?
Well, no,
I'm trying to get invited backstage with Tug. You're out, dude.
Man. I'm telling. But Harry Styles,
That's
the
not
dude,
a country guy.
Well, no, but he was also out there. A couple of the One Direction dudes were out there. That I just kept seeing because you're supposed to take your phone out there, right? They throw you in jail for taking your phone out there. And how do they get pictures?
You're allowed to take a camera, so they must have taken a picture.
Rounds.
Oh, they weren't allowed to bring a camera in?
That's what I read, because I was like, how in the world did they do this?
And by the way,
I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me. Check it out. And
the paparazzi must have sent it to him. Text it. Here you go.
I bet because you're famous, they'll have somebody from the Masters go, click, click.
Every now and then you have that shot where everyone else goes, it's not my day, there's no chance.
Yeah.
Scheffler's second shot on 4, when he rolled that thing back down to the pin, and it almost went in. Like, he almost eagled that shot.
Yeah.
And so as he gets like, the 2-inch birdie, then you just see the look on like Morikawa's face, like, his playing partner, of like, there's no chance today. There's just, what are you going to do? And the next 3 hours became elementary in large part because no one in that field was getting any closer than, okay, maybe you got it down to 2 shots. He lengthened it out and he walked it in the rest of the way on the back, back 4 or 5 holes.
It was unbelievable to watch, man. And I know nothing. I don't know. Y'all know golf way better than I do. I just barely know the basics. But Los is right. When you're watching, you're like, dude, this dude's unstoppable.
Well, it's much like, look, Marcell Ozuna right now, you expect he's going to hit the ball hard. It's either going to go out of the park, maybe a double, maybe, right up the middle. He's in his hot streak. And when you're playing golf, there are times that you get on the course, you could feel as great as you want, and you see the guy playing next to you, and you're like, this guy is seeing everything right. I can't keep up with it no matter what. Ball. Yeah, when you're hot, you're hot. On golf, when you're bad, you're bad. When you're good, you're good, man.
Well, that was the rest of the field. Early on in the match, you had a 3-way tie, and then the other guys that were involved quickly faded away. Like Morikawa, him double bogeying 2 of his first 6 holes. It was like suddenly you're at 3 under, and now here's Scheffler like, well, I'm at 10 under, so I think I'm okay when it comes to you.
All right, because Laura and I, we were watching, and then we stopped for dinner or whatever, and ate. And then we look back at the score, and you saw where, because we didn't see Morikawa do all that. We're like, what just happened? Because we looked at the leaderboard, and you're like, wait a minute, how did he go from like tied for first to third?
It's so infuriating when you make a really bad shot, and you're better than that, and it will just drain you for maybe 2 holes. I mean, it is hard to kind of recover, especially on a national stage like that and that important. It's hard to recover and get back on. Most of the time you'll calm down after 2 holes, but sometimes it's just too late. It's the opposite of what Scheffler, you hit a good shot, you continue to hit good shots. You're like, I'm on target. I know what I'm doing now. The other way goes too, and that's what happened to Morikawa, unfortunately.
But this is the part we can all, if you've played golf or if you're into sports, where you just know, hey, it's not my day today, and I'm playing against the #1 player in the world.
And it is his day.
So when he hits that amazing shot, and he ends up 1 inch away from putting it in for eagle, and he ends up taking the birdie. Morikawa hits his, and it goes right into the sand. And now we're talking about he probably missed by about 10 feet. That's not a significant amount in golf.
No. It's like
but
a
he's in the
postage
sand,
stamp up there.
and he gets in there, and his first recovery shot out of the sand, flies up, hits the edge, and drops right back down in the sand. And that's where you're like, there's the tournament. That's where your day, you know what it is. I can't keep up with the number one guy in the world.
Yeah, and you'll recover a little bit. He did towards the end. He started recovering a little bit, and you will. But yeah, it's when you're up against someone like that, forget it. You just go and watch, and you go, wow, I want to watch this guy finish this out the way he's going to finish this
He's the
out.
number one player in the world right now.
It's crazy.
For a reason.
Oh, he looks great.
And he's at that point where now that's 2 and 3 years. So you now start getting into that realm of, now when he shows back up, it's Masters royalty, and can you get a third one of these?
Yeah. No kidding.
He's only 27.
Well,
Tiger looks horrible, man.
That's where I was going next is Tiger. You feel terrible for him because he's that royalty. Well, yes. Yes. Some of his personal life decisions, I know what you mean, but I still, for whatever reason, I still pull for him a little bit. And that he broke a record most times to qualify for the Masters, but then just fell flat.
I felt bad because I could see the pain he has and the discomfort he has getting used to, the injury with his leg. That's really hard to kind of get that swing back and get everything back. It's tough for Tiger, and I can imagine he loves golf, so at least
Clearly.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, 2019 was a gift. The fact that he won it in the way he did and the rest of the field fell apart. And by the way, they're showing it on Fox News right now. Did you see what my man Boban did?
No.
So Boban is the center for the Houston Rockets. They had that promotion where depending on how many free throws get missed, everyone gets free chicken.
Yeah.
So he started pointing at the crowd. I'm going to miss this one right here for y'all. I'm going to get y'all free chicken.
He did not.
And he intentionally missed it and puts up the number one of like, Boban just got you chicken.
Boban gives you chicken.
Dude, I love that guy.
And if you don't know, if you remember all the weird State Farm ads with the giant NBA player who's he dribble it, dribble it. Yeah. That's Boban.
That's awesome. Remember the $6 billion that Biden gave Iran? That was only going to be for humanitarian needs, not attacking Israel, right?
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Pete, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Let me give you an example of the media narrative and how it changes. Barack Obama campaigned at Mount Rushmore, and CNN said it was a majestic sight that every president should visit. 2016, Bernie Sanders campaigned at Mount Rushmore. He was humbled to be in the presence of 4 of the greatest American presidents, and CNN said the scene was awe-inspiring. Then, in 2020, Donald Trump visits Mount Rushmore, and CNN called it a celebration of white supremacy, and Trump will stand before 2 former slave owners on land that was taken away from Native Americans. There's your narrative.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Neil Bortz here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPs.com.
At the Piedmont Bank, we're proud to be one of Georgia's largest community banks, focusing on serving businesses and the communities they serve. With headquarters right here in Metro Atlanta, our tailored banking expertise and solutions help meet the diverse needs of our customers so they have what it takes to grow, expand, and thrive. It's what elevates us above the rest. Find a location near you at Piedmont.bank and experience elevated banking for you and your business. The Piedmont Bank. Banking elevated. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Hey there, it's Janelle King, host of The Janelle King Show, right here on Extra 106.3 FM, where we are unafraid and unapologetic. We explore the topics that matter the most. You can catch us on Saturdays at 4 p.m. and encore episode on Sundays at 9 a.m. And catch up on past episodes by going to the podcast park right here at Extra 106.3 or wherever you get your podcasts every single Tuesday. Until then, stay unafraid, stay unapologetic, and never stop seeking the truth.
Millions
of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911, online at stopmyed.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
The Morning Extra from 6 to 10 a.m. and The Kimmer Show from 3 to 6 p.m. Only on WFOM and W292EV Marietta. Extra 106.3 FM.
Israel's war cabinet is about to meet. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, discussing how to respond to Iran's attack.
Israeli media says the cabinet wants to see a response, but they disagree on the timing and scope.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. Almost all the hundreds of drones and missiles were shot down by Israel or the U.S. and our allies. Some got through and damaged an Israeli base. A girl was wounded.
The majority of them taken down outside of Israeli airspace, and reports do indicate that were confirmed by Fox News. Around 50% of the ballistic missiles actually failed upon launch. It was a response to an Israeli strike in Damascus, Syria, that killed a top Iranian general. Mohammad Sahadi was responsible for the missile and component shipments to Syria and ultimately into southern Lebanon to be used against Israel in a future war.
At an emergency UN meeting, Deputy U.S. Ambassador Robert Wood said,
"The Security Council must unequivocally condemn Iran's aggressive actions."
President Biden talked to Israel's prime minister, urging restraint to avoid a wider conflict, and the U.S. will not participate in any Israeli response. A police officer and a sheriff's deputy shot dead last night in New York. Syracuse Police Chief Joe Cecil says it happened after the driver of a suspicious car refused to stop.
Officers lost sight of the vehicle, but were able to get the license plate, so they were able to track it to an address in Liverpool.
That's where the gunman opened fire. He was also shot and killed. Former President Trump's due in court this morning in New York City for jury selection for his first criminal trial.
Potential jurors will be asked 42 total questions, including which cable, print, and social media platforms they get their news from. They will also be asked if they have ever attended a Trump campaign event, if they follow him on social media, and if they have ever attended anti-Trump rallies.
Fox's Brooks Singman, the former president, is charged with falsifying business records over 2016 payments to keep an alleged affair quiet on Truth Social. He posted this morning, "It's a witch hunt and election interference ahead of his Biden rematch." America's listening to Fox News.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 877-64-BIBLE. That's 877-64-BIBLE. 877-64-BIBLE.
This is Tucker Carlson. You're listening to Atlanta's only conservative talk station, Extra 106.3, worldwide on the Extra app.
Little Primus bringing you back on a Monday morning, trying to wake you up a little bit. You know, trying to shake the
cobwebs.
The cobwebs, the sleep out of your eyes, and this should do it. I mean, this. Jared was a race car driver. That'll
I think
wake
you're
anybody
talking
up.
about yourself. I got up this morning, fired up, ready to go.
I did too, and then I got in that stupid chair, and then I about fell asleep.
And that's your fault.
I know it is.
You got to keep a mentality when you are being taken care of in the training room. you then got to be ready to come out of the training room ready to go.
I know, and it does the exact opposite for me.
I woke up not wanting to wake up. I want to go right back to bed. I was with you.
Yeah.
But I'm energized now, though.
But when I woke up early this morning, I was fine, ready, raring to go.
I think I just slept really hard all weekend.
Yeah.
So by the time we get around to Monday and it's, you obviously want more sleep, but I was like, all right, fine. I got what I got on Friday and Saturday.
And then y'all are going to Philadelphia. Where in Philadelphia y'all playing? Your daughter's
Convention Center. It's our Northeast qualifier.
Okay.
So we've got in our division.
Yeah.
That's how big this is. 56 teams in our division. And so everyone's going for 3 bids, and there's a couple teams that already have them. So we have just missed out the first 2 qualifiers we've been at. So hopefully we get another 6-0, and then we'll see what happens on Sunday.
All right, I got 2 questions. Number 1, Spartan body armor. Did you get that?
I have not.
Okay, work on that. Number 2.
Honestly, I was like, what? You're never outside of these places.
All
Like
right,
you show up to the convention center and you're either there or you're in the hotel like the entire time.
All right, be safe there. And 2, are you going to see our good old friend John Kincaid while you're
Please tell me yes.
So the plan...
Former co-worker down the hall at 680 The Fan.
So this is where I had to tell my wife over the weekend that I've now become the pariah. So I'm not going to just toot the own horn, but... I think I'm pretty good when it comes to NFL draft stuff.
Yeah.
I've done it for a long time.
I'll
used to
toot
do it
your horn. You're the best at it.
I used to do it professionally. Dane Brugler's the best. Dane Brugler, as far as a media member, he is awesome. And there's some people that he writes for The Athletic. Okay. And he is the fact that he's not hired by an NFL team is ridiculous. At some point, that's going to happen. He's the best. Rick Gosselin used to be one of the best before he kind of retired out of it. So that's kind of the standard. I reached out to Kincaid. I was like, hey, I'm going to be in town. Maybe we can get together. I was like, and if you need me to, I can do draft coverage. And he was like, yeah, well, that's fine.
Oh.
Because I'm sorry, I'm now a pariah for doing conservative talk radio.
Conservative.
I know.
Yeah, but he knows how to play the game.
But yeah, he doesn't tell anybody.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I'll say this.
He tells us behind the scenes we talk and have conversations all the time, but he never came out on air. He'd say those little things.
I always picked up on it a little bit when I would listen to
instance,
Kincaid.
2016, he didn't vote for Trump or Hillary.
Okay.
Yet in 2020, he did.
Okay.
So he's one of those guys where he's like, I'll just kind of take, but... So I threw.
Wow.
Typically, if I offer to come to your radio station and do draft talk live with you, there's a whole lot of markets where like, yeah, cool, sounds great. John's like, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's Philadelphia too.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
scary
disappointing.
there.
That's disappointing to me.
Meanwhile, when it does come to the NFL draft next Thursday, I'll actually be in North Carolina doing it live with our sister station. So I'm good enough to do it over out of a casino and the night of the draft. But Philadelphia's like, he might be too conservative.
I don't like Philadelphia no way.
Huh? Neat. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Philadelphia. They can keep it. They can have it.
Philadelphia stinks. I like the I like the history.
I love the history of it too, but it doesn't match the history though.
No,
you know what I mean.
I don't like the drug use and the over. It's disgusting.
Crazy. My wife did tell me she wanted to go see the Rocky statue, and there was that moment of, and it's always the joke that Bill Burr would always say. He's like, this town is so racist. It's like, you have real heavyweight champions that y'all don't celebrate because they're black, and instead, you hold up a 5'7" fake guy, fake Italian boxer. He's like, you have a statue of a fake boxer. Of a fake boxer, a 5'7" Italian dude, yet you have real heavyweight champions that have been born here, worked here, but because they're black, you won't support them.
I guess I just don't know enough about boxing to know who's from Philadelphia and who's good.
Joe Louis, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I don't know. I know who Joe Louis is, but I wouldn't know where he's from.
Where's his statue?
Yeah. And
what about AIs, by the way, this weekend?
Oh my God, Allen Iverson!
The statue.
The poor looking statue.
It looked like one of those little starter dolls you put on your desk. It was so small. I was in number one. It didn't look much like AI, like Allen Iverson to me. AI. 2. It was so tiny. I was insulted. I was like, he's one of the greatest players that ever play there.
If you're going to tell me you're getting a statue, well, then not saying it has to be the most immense thing, but lifelike is kind of the idea, right? That's typically how it works. His looked like a velociraptor.
Oh, it's horrible.
Okay. Now, if you don't know, like when you watch Jurassic Park, they make the velociraptors like big and scary. Mm-hmm. They were actually in real world the size of chickens.
Right.
Okay. They were like this big,
but vicious.
Yes, but this big.
Yeah.
His statue is the velociraptor of NBA statues.
Really
it's tiny.
It is tiny.
Y'all, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and their kids, my niece and nephew, they were up in Pigeon Forge this weekend.
Oh, nice.
And you ain't gonna believe what they saw.
Oh.
You'll never guess what they saw.
I can't believe this already.
They saw O.J. Simpson's white Bronco.
Nuh-uh.
It's on display at a museum in Pigeon Forge.
The real one.
The real one. Place called Alcatraz East. My brother-in-law.
Good for them.
How'd they buy that?
I don't know. I just know my brother-in-law shot me a text, and he was just like, dude, did you know? Because obviously OJ passed last week, so it was a big conversation. Sure. And he found out it was there. He was like, all right, we'll see it. And sure enough, goes in there. And in Alcatraz East, a museum in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, home of the infamous O.J. Bronco.
That's amazing.
How fitting is it, though, that he just randomly takes his family to Pigeon Forge? Because they go there, once or twice a year.
Right.
Because he and I grew up going up there as kids, just south of, Chattanooga and Dalton, where we're from. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump up to Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg.
No kidding, it's there.
And I'm telling you, he was like, dude, you will not believe what I'm standing here looking at.
There are some people that are way smarter and they go, you know what, I bet I could buy that Bronco now.
I guess so.
And one day it'll be worth something and I'll throw it in a museum or I'll do something. The museum curators, the people who see things before and go, you know what, I better buy that now before it gets outrageous.
Yeah.
They're the smart ones in this world, aren't they?
You want to know a funny line about this thing?
You sure?
So this from the Hollywood Reporter. It turns out, says it's been on a long road trip to get to Pigeon Forge. It said, with pit stops involving a lawsuit, a porn mogul, an ex-agent, and a reality TV show.
Wow.
So apparently it's bounced around quite a bit before it found its way to Tennessee.
And just settled there in Pigeon Forge in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
It was on an episode of Pawn Stars.
That's what we're talking about.
okay.
Yeah, it went through Pawn Stars.
I saw that episode.
Joe.
Of course.
Board Hop Joe Virgin. Remember, I saw that episode. I was blown away just because we talked about OJ so much last week.
Well, you wouldn't expect it on
Never in a million
even
years.
on the East Coast, let alone Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Exactly right.
Like New York City? Okay, maybe. I could see that.
Maybe.
Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
The Bronco disappeared for 5 years until it showed up on Pawn Stars in 2017.
Where did it disappear to?
Well, that's the story of this whole thing. That
was when it was bouncing around.
So if you just go around to it, like one of the people that had a hold of it was a man named Michael Pulwer, the porn king, owner of Paradise Visuals, an adult film company that was big in the 1990s, reportedly paid $200,000 for it.
Wow.
That's a lot.
So it just moved around from private collector to private collector until it found its way onto Pawn Stars in 2017.
Apparently, they were just at one of the putt-putt courses up there because I got a million little places to play putt-putt. And he just randomly was talking to a dude, and the dude's like, yeah, man, we were over at the Alcatraz East and saw OJ's Bronco. He passed us.
You're like, yeah, whatever. It's not OJ's. It's probably a replica. And then you go there and you're like, oh, my God.
Holy cow, it's really the one. Gatlinburg, Tennessee, or Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. They're right there together.
It's written all in here. It's his Bronco.
I couldn't believe it, dude. I thought he was pulling my leg. I
would have, too.
I didn't think he was telling me the dang truth, and sure enough, he was. And now Los has confirmed it. Because I didn't bother to look it up. I just took his word for it after I...
Now I want to go.
I know. Well, that's the reason they have it there. Because everybody, especially now when it's in the spotlight so much, I bet their ticket sales are through the roof right now.
Oh, for sure.
Unless people don't know, which is another thing. Because I didn't know. My brother-in-law, Daniel, who goes twice a year, didn't know. So I don't know. Maybe if people know it's there, then I bet it went up. But if they're
bet during spring break, a lot of people might have been down there. I bet they made. Yeah, people are there anyway. I'm sure the word got around this past weekend.
And if they're smart, they're putting up billboards everywhere.
Yeah, come see OJ's Bronco.
Holy cow! And social media and things.
See, radio OJ almost killed himself.
That's exactly right.
So the lawyer said, "You got enough money and celebrity, we could get you out of this."
Yeah, right. Which is exactly what happened. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3, Tug. RHino and front office Los, y'all remember, they told us it was only going to be used for humanitarian needs. There was no way that Iran was going to do anything with this money but humanitarian purposes. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, one back then and one more recently of John Kirby giving you the lines.
The U.S. will have visibility and will be able to engage in oversight about where the money was going and for what purpose. If Iran tries to divert the funds, we'll take action and we'll lock them up again. And there will be sufficient oversight to make sure that the request is valid and that it's going through vendors who we and the Qataris can trust will actually contract for the goods, the medical equipment, the food, whatever it is. The regime doesn't get to touch the money, Peter. Doesn't go to them. They don't get to decide ultimate destination, and they have no direct access to it.
John, Iran made 2 transactions withdrawing from the previously frozen funds in Oman. What were those transactions for?
I don't have the details on that, Jackie. You're gonna have to let me get back to you on that.
We don't know it all. Oh, they made withdrawals? I have no idea what they did it for. Maybe some missiles and drones, possibly.
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on it. We know. Yeah. Well, what happened to it? Well, we don't know. That is our government in a nutshell, and they were lying to you from that moment, and they know. Iran came out and told them flat out the day they did it, the humanitarian needs are what we decide the humanitarian needs are, and that's to wipe Israel off the earth.
The teacher's lounge, when it gets rolling, like you listen to him talk for 30 seconds and then ask a direct question, and you recognize that quickly doesn't know what he's talking about. That's how the teacher's lounge works. Think about this. When they take your sailors, when they abduct them, and your decision is to, well, let's exchange our sailors for pallets of cash. What do you think that money went to? You think it went to growing some fields? You think it went to like wheat production? No, it went to terrorism because that's what terrorists do when you hand them money. The other silly one is when they'll tell you, listen, they're enriching uranium, but they're not making it to weapons grade.
No, goodness, no.
Thank you, Teachers Lounge.
Yeah, what they're doing is they want to create energy. They want to become energy independent. Now, in the U.S., we're not going to allow that here in the United States, but we're so glad that Iran is going to do it, and we know where their heart is. We know they would never do anything to destroy the world or overtake the world. They would never do those kind of things. It's Iran. Don't you trust Iran, Rhino? What's the matter with you?
Of course I don't trust Iran, and neither do they. The funny thing to me is it just shows the weakness of this presidency. It shows the weakness of this administration. Here's what Iran said. What'd they say?
We'll do whatever we want to do, is what they said.
That's
and
our money, and we'll do whatever. We're not going to stand down to them. We're not afraid of them. Look at these idiots. They sold away their energy independence. They actually enriched this country even more because they no longer control energy. We do. We control them. You know, Lindsey Graham might have been right about, I say we wipe them all out when we can. Probably would have saved us a lot of trouble because we're going to end up having to get involved one way or another in this. We have to stop this terrorist organization, which happens to be also a country that funds all the terrorism. This is
with our money, though.
With our money, this is the head of the snake. So I don't know what we're going to do, but right now we're the weakest country in the world, and Iran knows it. They had no fear whatsoever of doing what they did this weekend.
I really feel for the Iranian people in the same way that I feel for our own people, because we're both led by absolute nutty fanatics. Like, granted, their fanatics are into terrorism and they're looking to destroy Israel. Our fanatics are into a different type of terrorism. They're looking to protect Israel as long as it doesn't cost them votes in Michigan. Think about that silliness.
Yeah.
Think about how they're having to jump from one foot to the next of going, I just tell you shouldn't go after Hamas that hard, but we kind of support and want to protect you. Hey, we want to make sure the Iranians don't hit you, but make sure you don't hit them back that hard.
It's the thing, man. They can't decide. Well, they can.
Their leaders are just as nutty as ours.
That's exactly right. And the fact that the Biden administration is so weak and they it's like they're playing hopscotch a little bit, right? It's one leg, then the other leg. It's who do we try to please today? Who do we put in a box today? And we have to make sure that we keep these votes, and we got to keep that vote. And all of the house of cards continues to crumble down.
But that's the problem. See, Iran, they are more about a holy war. They're more about being strong in their convictions. If they say they're going to do something, they're going to do something. We as Americans, we're watching as our leaders are pandering for votes, are pandering for more power, more money. They're not even paying attention to what people will really do. We knew what Iran was going to do. We know what they're capable of. We know why the borders are open. We know who's here. And the United States and our president is playing politics, trying to win votes.
Think about this from the Iranians. Remember, they're crazy, right? Whoa, watch out. So you end up having one person who gets killed in these attacks, and that's one person too many. In the interest of politics, when we pulled out of Afghanistan, because the administration looked so weak, they decided, you know what? Let's drone attack a van and kill 10 people of a family. Mm-hmm. Who's the terrorist here?
Us, buddy. The mirror is reflecting right back at us.
So we're playing this whole game of like holier than thou. It's the reason why you keep hearing so many of us say, get out of these things.
Well, but see, that's the thing. We need to, I would say we just need to get out of the Middle East altogether. What is in the Middle East that is beneficial to the United States?
Energy.
Right. But we have as much energy or more than they do if we just used it.
But
we don't have the leaders to do that.
No, I know we don't.
You have access to it.
But that's what we need to do, right? In my opinion, get out of the Middle East altogether, period, hands down. I want to defend our greatest ally in Israel. I want to be there for them. But everything else, they can have it.
But
every bit of it.
And the way they're moving to EV, Carlos, they are trying to change the way energy is brokered, right? They're trying to get away from the oil. They think this is the head. This is the advanced future is in electric energy. So having these, obviously the solar panels, the wind turbines, all the things that they're trying to do, they're trying to be the first one to do it, and they're going to fail.
I guess I've just gotten to the point where I was so frustrated with things on Saturday, in part because this was the collection of what happens when you have not only just dumb people, but ridiculous people leading us. And remember, it doesn't change so much, even when you change presidents, because the deep state doesn't go away.
No, it doesn't.
And it's so rotten.
They will just fight against the other side.
We've already seen where the deep state was like, well, he ain't deep state enough, so we'll go after him. This is the core of who is running your country now. Okay, this is why we're not the good guy.
But I'd feel safe with Trump moving in the right direction. I'd feel safe with DeSantis. I feel like those two would have a better idea of how to keep these people in control and how to show strength. We're not going to show strength with any other candidate that I've seen so far besides DeSantis and besides Trump. Nikki Haley would never have showed this kind of strength.
Yeah, she would have wrapped herself in the deep state cloak.
This is the problem that you run into with someone like Donald Trump, because he is influenced based on who's around him and who gets in front of him. When he's on the campaign trail, it's by far the best version of him. But you don't legislate from the campaign trail. And that's where you have the deep state that starts to influence him, and he goes along with it. You know, the whole idea of him going along with, hey, that extension of FISA, we should do that because that's going to be good for the country.
I don't know what he's
Sorry. If you're talking about still spying on Americans and you thought it was a good idea because you had the Speaker of the House get in front of you and convince you of it?
A Speaker of the House that we already are pissed at.
Go out on the campaign trail and see what the people will tell you. They'll be like, hell no.
Every one of them are going to say no. And that's right there is why I don't worship at the altar of Trump. Do I like him? Yes. Do I think he's better than Biden? Yes. But do I think he's going to be just the end-all, be-all savior? No,
you could have a cabinet of regular people. I'd feel so much better about where things are going.
Yeah, I understand his point. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later, though.
Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. The U.S. helped defend Israel from the Iranian attack. But what's next in the defense of our greatest ally? On Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Tug, RHino, and Los. We're on the air until 10.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Pete, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
We have to recognize, folks, that this country we've known all of our lives is not necessarily going to last all of our children's lives or our grandchildren. It's in trouble. It's on the ropes. Biden's, Trump's. Go to jail if you misgender somebody. Come on. We have to recognize the threat, the possibility that it could all be gone next week and start working to preserve it. So far, we're not doing very well.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
The countdown is on. We are 2 weeks away at my house. 2 weeks, 14 days. Not next Monday, but the Monday after. Southern Exterior is going to be at our house. They're going to be fixing all the siding. They're going to be fixing all of the paint. They're going to pressure wash the house. They're going to do it all. Our house is going to look so amazing. My wife is over the moon. She cannot wait to get this project done. And as I told you earlier, it would be done even before 2 weeks. But our schedule doesn't fit. You see, Southern Exteriors, they said, let's get on it. Let's get it done next week. As soon as we decided to get it, decided to do the project, they're like, when do you want us to start? You tell us. We're like, well, probably about 3 weeks. And they're like, what? We don't wait around. We don't make people wait. And they won't make you wait either. But they will work around your schedule like they are ours. Going to paint, going to, like I said, pressure wash. The house is going to look amazing. And they can do all this for you, too. They won't make you wait either unless you need to. They got that in-house warranty division, so if anything isn't perfect, they'll take care of it. And you have your own project manager, the direct person that you'll deal with through the entirety of your project. When you say, hey, there's just something that it just doesn't look exactly right on one, they take care of it. Then on site, whatever you want, that's what they get done. When they say, we're going to make it to your specs, they mean it. They'll look you in the eye, they'll shake your hand, and before they leave your house, they're going to make sure your project is perfect. Southern Exteriors, 8779 Southern, southernexteriors.co. It's southernexteriors.co.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the podcast park. See you around, Atlanta.
My name is Amy Risley. I have been working for Bruce Hagen for 17 years. When I first started, my boys were 4 and 6, and whenever I needed, Bruce allowed me to bring them to our office. Bruce has always treated us like family, and 17 years later, I still love coming to work for Bruce Hagen. Just recently, a friend told me they hear Bruce talking on 680 The Fan. They asked me if he was as nice as he appeared to be on air. I smiled, and without any hesitation, answered, he's even nicer in person. I'm Amy Risley. I work for Bruce Hagen. Let Bruce Hagen work for you. Hagen-law.com.
Introducing Sonder Health Plans, your trusted local partner for Medicare Advantage in Georgia. Only in Georgia. With Sonder, you'll get comprehensive coverage that's tailored to your needs. They offer $0 primary care visits, $0 premiums, and access to a wide network of Georgia healthcare providers. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com now to learn more about their valued-based care that won't break the bank. Or call 888-428-4440. Sonder Health Plans. Your doctors, your neighbors, your friends.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911. Online at stopmyed.com.
Is the tax deadline causing you anxiety? Searching for elusive 1099s and trying to uncover any exemptions? If so, you're not alone. Every year, Georgians find themselves looking backwards to file with the IRS, reporting tax history. But what if you were to flip the script? Not just report your taxes, but actually planning for them. We're Master Plan Retirement Consultants. We're local, with offices in Marietta. We work with folks just like you to create a personalized, tax-efficient strategy designed to last a lifetime, a crucial piece to the holistic retirement plan. Do you have a retirement roadmap? You should. It's never too late. Visit masterplanretire.com. Don't wait any longer. Visit masterplanretire.com.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Cause I'm the tax man. Cause I'm the tax man. This is living off of the people's taxes. Slam down, thank you, man. Money. I'm alright, Jack. Keep your hands off of my stack. Yeah, I'm the tax man.
Oh my, it is tax day. Morning Xtra and Xtra 1063.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so you worked on it all day yesterday, is that right, Lois?
Worked on it for the better part of like 3 weeks, and then finally yesterday was bite the bullet day.
Just get it done and get it submitted?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they say people spend about 8 hours fretting over their taxes when it takes less time than that to get your taxes filed or file the extension. So what they're suggesting at taxact.com is that people, if they would just do it instead of putting it off and fretting over it, it would be better for their mental health. It would just be better to get it out of the way.
trying to hold on to my money a little bit longer than I need to.
Stupid taxes.
Your money.
I wish I could divorce the IRS. If I could break up with anybody, it'd be the IRS.
Oh, easy.
I wouldn't be in a
You need
relationship.
7,000 people come looking for you, though.
I wouldn't be in a relationship
with them.
I would be out of a relationship with.
The nicest part was when I got the text message of like, your federal taxes have been accepted. I was like, yes,
sir.
Now, who knows? They'll come back at me later with God knows what.
Yeah.
But it's like, listen, you checked it
job.
over. I wrote you the check.
Yeah.
You know, all right. I'm. What does that put me in? Like the 50-something% of actual people that pay their taxes?
Yes, that's exactly right. So it's we've had ours done for a little while. We knew what we owed and all that sort of stuff because we try to hit it as close to zero as we can. And I mean, you're on either side of it, whatever. But so we've known for a while. But luckily, like the guy that does our taxes for us he's really good. He's really savvy, and that helps take the stress off. So neither my wife and I really fret about that. And I think most people want to get a refund, and I can't figure out why. I try to talk to my mom about it all the time. She was like, "Yeah, but it's like a little present." And I was like, "No, it's not, Mama. It's not a little present. It's your money.
I handed you back your money,
and right, but interest free,
right?"
And but I can't convince her. She's sold on this idea, and I feel like more people are like that than not.
I typically am paying federal and getting something small back from the state,
right?
And that's just kind of the nature of how our taxes break down.
Yeah, it's a mess. Like I said, if I could get out of a relationship, it would be the IRS.
Absolutely.
I'd break up with them in a minute.
Yeah.
Just not talk to them ever again.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it sounds silly, but that's like saying I'm not going to get robbed by a guy at gunpoint. Yeah. Like, I'm going to break up with that. I just don't want to be robbed by someone anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, did you see the lines of people that were told that they had to verify who they were, and so they were headed down to IRS offices?
No, I missed that.
They were told you were not going to get your return if you don't verify who you are. And so it was creating these long lines at these places of people that I just want to let you know, hey, this is who I am. I'm supposed to get a return here.
I thought it didn't matter who you were. I thought you didn't have to show ID for anything. Why? This doesn't make any sense. Why are the IRS doing that?
Because they're racist, I guess. Doesn't that make sense? Yeah, here in Atlanta, a lot of people went down yesterday, and the IRS told them to come back in about a month or two.
It's like when the illegals come across the border, and they get apprehended, and they're like, okay, here's your little sheet. We're giving you your little sheet.
Yeah,
and come back in a few months, as if they're ever going to come back. I guess with the IRS.
Well, if they owe money, they'll come back, right? Yeah. I mean, you're owed money.
If you're owed money, yes,
right. You used you found a way to make sure that you hired 87,000 new agents, but when the people who need the money, when the people who are showing up at the door saying, "Hey, we need to get this done," then all of a sudden you don't have enough people to take care of the people that really need it. Now, Mark Cuban, everybody else, they're going to be fine, but the people in Atlanta that were not able to get what they needed from the IRS here in Atlanta, now all of a sudden you don't have enough people on hand.
At Georgia Followers is where Loest is showing me this video from, and it is a line about 200 yards long.
They received letters basically letting them know they were not going to get their return unless they could verify who they were.
I thought it didn't matter. How is this even possible?
But this wasn't just here. You had this in Houston.
Yes, all over the country, I'm sure. But that's the thing that throws me such a curveball. You don't have to have an ID for anything. Why is all of a sudden you have to have an ID to verify?
You don't need an ID to vote. But apparently with the government, if you want them to give you your money back, you got to verify who you are.
Just think about how dumb that is. Like just comparing the two situations, how stupid, absolutely stupid that is. Our federal government is so bass-backwards all the time. I mean, they can never get it right. They always get it wrong. It's just like the other day when we had Chris Carr on. I wanted to be like, oh, great, we're celebrating that Georgia's getting this money, from, what was the lawsuit? Was it the
opioid?
The opioid. Thank you. And I wanted to say, oh, Chris, great job. And the work he did was great. But the money's going to go to the government. I mean, it'll be state government, but it's going to the government. Government always gets it wrong.
Yeah.
That doesn't make me feel good. That doesn't make me feel nice. Nothing. None of that stuff does. I have zero confidence in any of these people.
It's just when you recognize, like when I think about the idea of having sports wagering here in the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
And you hear about all the issues of people having their hands out of, we want to run it this way. Here's how it has to work. Georgia Lottery has to be involved. And everywhere along the lines, there's somebody that you recognize. They need to get their skin in the game. They need to get their little portion of it. And that's government to a T all the way around, no matter what. No matter what you come up with, somebody's there to say, I need to get my palms greased to make this thing work.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because a lot of people took off work this weekend, and this is what the IRS here in Atlanta, what they've done is they said, hey, once a month, we've got open appointments for anybody who needs it. Come and verify your ID, get your refund, do all that. And this is taxpayers that don't have appointments. They're able to show up. Doors were set to open on West Peachtree Street at 9 a.m. They slowly said, hey, we don't have enough time to take care of you. Close the door. Called the Atlanta police to then tell everybody to leave.
Yeah, disperse. I know we summoned you down here, plebes.
Yep.
Now we've locked the doors on you just to slap you in your face.
Yeah, nobody came out there. I mean, after they didn't come out to talk to the people. They didn't come out and say anything.
They just locked the doors,
they
sent
locked
the
doors
police.
and called the police.
Of course they did.
And these are people who took off work to, hopefully be able to provide for their family.
I'd be so pissed, man. I have no love for these people. None.
That's your Democrats. They're the ones running the system.
But the Republicans are just as guilty.
Of course, but we're going to blame the people in Atlanta today.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there ain't no Republicans in there.
A lot of people got a really good civics lesson in how inefficient their government is.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then by the time that you get the doors locked on you and they just say, oh, you got to move along, they just let you know about how important you are.
But those
to
folks,
the federal government.
those folks still going to vote Democrat, though.
But guess what? Here's what you're going to get in Atlanta. Because the mayor told you. They're going to use your taxpayer money to build 4 new MARTA stations.
Woo!
So don't worry about it. We'll get to you eventually in a month or so. We're working on the plans right now. We've already figured out where we're going to spend your money. Hopefully we'll get it back to you. We just don't have time to deal with you now.
We might.
You don't have the money to eat. You don't have the money in the city to deal with Bidenomics, inflation, gas prices, and everything else. You just come back in a month. We'll take care of you then.
Morning Extra on Extra 1063. We have to defend Israel, Rhino. It's imperative we defend Israel. It's our only ally, or our biggest ally. Well, only and biggest ally in the Middle East. The only place where people live freely, no matter what their religion is, no matter how they feel politically, doesn't matter. They have the ability to live in freedom in Israel under, the way the government's set up there. And they're constantly being attacked, and they've been attacked this way since the country was founded, since the country was created. And I'm nervous because I do not trust the Biden administration to stand by our greatest ally.
No, and I don't think you should. I think the biggest problem that we're going to have is not only are we not standing by, but we're also not paying attention. We're not paying attention to every single warning sign. What is the next step? What are we going to do next? I can tell you already what the Democrats are saying. Oh, we'll pass this bill. Pass funding bill for Ukraine. Send them $60 billion. Let's make sure that we take care of Taiwan also. Oh, and maybe we'll do something about our border. But what should we be doing? Let's think about the unconventional attacks that Iran is going to be capable of from here on out. Or the cells that they go, hey, it's time. It's time for you to do what you're supposed to do. The attacks on
here in
country,
America.
not only here, but everywhere that borders are open. I mean, think about what the UK's been dealing with too over there. I mean, a lot of countries are going to face these kind of attacks. Where are we? How strong are we going to be, and what are we going to do?
See, when I think about Ukraine, it's a name on the map. It means nothing to me. And so I just look at it and I go, hey, you're bad people and the Russians are bad people. And y'all just go fight bad people together. Just go do your thing. It's different with Israel. And I guess the problem that I still have is that everything that we look to commit to this is still devaluing our money at home.
No, it is, for sure.
Yep.
So you wonder about how much harder do you want to make your life in order to support your primary ally. And that's
you have
question.
to, though. I think you have to.
But we don't have the money for any of this stuff.
We don't. You're 100% correct. It's going on a credit card. It is going on a credit card. But it would be like...
By the way, so don't talk to me about Ukraine with this stuff. Talk to me about if you're going to hurt me more, hurt me for my primary allies, hurt me for my border. Don't hurt me for Ukraine.
That's exactly right. But I'll give you the example. My mom and dad didn't have the money to send me to college, and they opened a credit card for me to go to college. Now, luckily, I was smart enough to realize that I wasn't mature enough to be there, dropped out after a semester, went in the Navy, and kind of made my own path. And I do expect that Israel is able and capable of defending itself, but we have to be there for our greatest ally. We have to be. It is, to me, it's imperative. If it were anybody else, I would probably not be so hawkish.
But again, at that point, what if it wasn't your parents? What if it was somebody else? Let's say, Governor Jim that came over and said, we're going to take care of your college. We're going to pay it because we're going to take other people's money to pay for it. That's what they're doing with this. They don't care about what's happening in Israel. In reality,
but I do.
You do, and I do, and so do a lot of the American people. What they care about is, well, where else can we get money from the American people? Because now we can use this attack on Israel. What was their first thing? Chuck Schumer's first thing is, well, now this is why we need the House to get together and make sure that we pass a national security bill that sends $60 billion to Ukraine.
If Mike Johnson,
and we take care of Israel.
But if Mike Johnson were smart, he would push back and be like, "We've already passed the Israel funding. It's sitting there in the Senate. Y'all have done nothing with it."
Of course if he was smart. But see, he's playing a game right now. Donald Trump's playing the same game. We got to win this House. We have to have power. So we're going to pretend we're working bipartisan to try to get this done in the right manner. We need to get these things done because we need to win this election in 2024. Right now, we can't wait till 2024 to stand up and do something to stop all the things that are happening, whether it's Ukraine, whether it's Israel. But the funding ain't going to help stop it. It's just going to further this down the line. We're just going to continue funding wars.
If you just want to get like an overview of what's happened in the last 20 years. So you used to have the stat of what the debt was per U.S. household. Mm-hmm. And I remember when it was, you can look at like 04, 06, it sits right around like $12,700 per house. So you're like, oh my God, the share of the debt is $12,700 per household.
Guess what it is today?
It's now $101,000 per citizen.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, man.
Think about that jump in 20 years. We're talking about per household going, man, it's $12,700 per household. It's now $101,000 per person.
The only place I'm okay with spending money is in defense of Israel. I believe we have to do that. I believe we have to. It's not.
But we can't be the only ones.
No, right.
We need other countries to step up.
I thought that was important about when you looked at the conglomerate of the defense that happened on Saturday, where it's a UK was defending, Turkey was defending. You had
Jordan, France.
Well, the rest of the region recognizes that if it used to be that Israel was looked at as like the destabilizing agent within that region, that's no longer the case. The way they work with the Saudis, the way they work with the other countries there, they have now become the stabilizing force versus Iran, who's the destabilizer. Iran is the common enemy in that area, and it ain't the people, it's that regime that they have.
Wouldn't it be great, though, if we went on offense every once in a while instead of always playing defense? In other words, why don't we shut the borders down and then stop the terrorists?
Seems like a great plan, Rhino. That's why it'll never happen. It doesn't. It makes too much sense. We can't do anything that makes sense. Morning Extra on Extra 106.3 will knock out the headlines when we come back. And John Kirby went on the TV tour to spend the potential of World War III. I mean, that's exactly what I need, is him spinning on the news. That's why I never watch the news. It drives me up the wall because they're all crazy. This is the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. After we're done at 10, Beck, then Clay and Buck from noon to 3 until 6, The Camera Show.
From the latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust, your best new follow on social media is Extra 1063. We're at XTRA 1063 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Extra personalities. Get the latest on our live events and so much more. Follow at Extra 1063 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
Howard Brothers. It's Lowe's talking about Howard Brothers and Toro Mowers. All right, let's talk about what you're doing in your yard. Because if you want to talk about taking care of it with quality, how about going back to a company whose roots date back to 1914. Okay, going back to 1914, Toro was built on a tradition of quality and long-lasting products. Toro takes the same technology that pro contractors rely on and design them into every product they build. They're not just reliable, the Toro is comfortable. Toro zero-turn mowers feature the ultimate in comfort, making your mowing experience enjoyable and will give you the beautiful lawn in less time. What do you do now that you're going to go and grab yourself a Toro mower? Well, you visit Howard Brothers. They've got all the power equipment that you can take a look at. They got the zero-turn mowers, and they can show you not just how to use it, how to maintain it, making sure that you get a long life out of your Toro mower. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Toro and with Howard Brothers.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 770-627-3235 or online at atlbail.com.
Everybody wants to feel like they're getting a good deal. That's why EMC security customers love their monthly rate from just $16.95. In fact, for such a low price, you'd think you'd have to sacrifice service or quality. Not with EMC security. You get it all. Low price, A+ Better Business Bureau rated service, lightning fast response, and flexible purchasing options, including their popular no contract option. Visit emcsecurity.com or call 770-963-0305 today to learn how you can get a free security camera with new activation.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the Podcast Park. See you around, Atlanta.
When you think of the great outdoors, do you ever think about your own backyard? Hi, this is Candace from Exovations, and have I got a tip for you. We turn backyards into great outdoor living areas. Imagine your home with a new, beautiful, and durable composite deck. Maybe with a relaxing screen porch, or maybe your family would enjoy a stone patio with a pergola to stargaze, or a covered open-air porch with a stunning tongue and groove ceiling. Add an outdoor fireplace, kitchen, or bar area for even more function and beauty. We can design and install your greatest outdoor adventure. And with Exovations, you'll get your project delivered on time, on budget, and without all that stress you usually hear about in construction. Let's make your outdoors great again. Schedule your free quote today at exovations.com. That's EXOVATIONS.com.
Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, April 15th. Atlanta police are investigating after a man was shot and killed in a parking lot on Joseph E. Boone Boulevard. Officers say the victim inserted himself into an argument between a separated couple. The man had been shot multiple times and was rushed to Grady Hospital, where he later died. There have been no word on any arrests. DeKalb County police responded to what they labeled a domestic violence call and confirmed there was no threat to the greater public after a woman was shot in the head and died. Police say 23-year-old victim Shanae Smith was allegedly shot in the head by her 24-year-old boyfriend, Keir Schloss. Smith and Schloss lived in a home together, and Schloss has not been taken into custody as of yesterday afternoon. Police ask if anyone has information on Schloss's whereabouts to please call 911. And in sports, Scotty Scheffler,
Scheffler. There you go.
Scheffler
I got you
closed
back.
his Masters performance with a 68 to capture his second Masters victory. Marcell Ozuna waited until there were 2 outs in the ninth to crush a slider over the center field wall for a 3-run home run and to give the Braves a 9-7 victory over the Miami Marlins. The Braves will head to Houston tonight to take on the Astros. Darius Vines will take to the mound for the Braves in an 8-10 start.
Me and my wife kept talking about it as we watched the Masters this weekend, was how and what happens if his wife goes into labor. Remember, because he said he was going to leave.
Yeah.
He said he was going to leave. And then you're like, okay, he wins, and then what happens then? Like if he has to bail out on all of the afterglow stuff. All
That
the
would be
interviews.
easy, though,
No,
right?
for him, yes,
Yeah.
no doubt. But the folks at the Masters, she was like, wouldn't they be pissed? And I was like, maybe, or would they be really smart and embrace it?
Yeah.
And then all the adulation that, look, they need right now because there's a whole lot of chaos in the PGA and golf in general.
They dramatized it, which made it fun.
Yeah, of course.
But her due date is in 3 weeks. Now, it doesn't mean you just can't have a baby anytime at that point.
Right. Absolutely. 3 weeks is that's a touch and go area.
But
there.
if you were having a pretty healthy pregnancy, you recognize that I didn't think you had to worry and make it as much of a story, but it was a nice story.
Absolutely.
That if he gets the phone call, he's getting out of there.
How do you dramatize it? How do you?
I would have sent the cameraman with follow the police, follow the car, follow him.
I mean,
get in
granted, we were the family where my oldest daughter was born 2 days after her due date, and my youngest daughter was born 2 days before her due date. So we knew that due date was pretty good.
Yeah,
Jacob was due on July 3rd. Or July 4th, somewhere, and it was right around there. So he was born about 10 days early. And so, 10 days, 2 weeks, I mean, 3 weeks. Yeah, you could see.
You feel a little safer.
Yeah.
If you told me due dates in 4 days, I'd be like, man, keep that phone around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Ironically enough, Liam was scheduled because his mother had to have a C-section. Was scheduled for April 15th. And
today.
I said no.
Not
There
today.
is no way
Not
you're
on the
doing
day
this
the
to my son.
Titanic sunk.
Right. No, not on the day that taxes are due. Not on the day.
Jackie Robinson Day.
Absolutely. We'll do it on the 16th. So tomorrow is his birthday because we said we're not doing it that day. She can wait one more day.
He's a great kid. I like seeing and talking to Liam because he's a great kid.
Yeah, he's
Rhino
a good
and his
kid.
wife has done such a great job. What I hate seeing is John Kirby on TV.
John Kirby. Now, I think this tells you a lot about what happened Saturday night because it wasn't like you had the Democrat satellites that were all over all of the talk shows. What it turned into was just send Kirby out.
Yeah.
Okay? Send him to as many places as we can.
Interesting, not KJP, not the spokesman.
No, never.
And those two rub each other the wrong way already.
Well, you worry about what she's going to say or when she has a lack of answers. John Kirby, no matter what,
he's got an answer.
Is going to give you an answer, even when he's flat, because this is what the job is. Even when he's flat lying to you, he still has an answer for you. KJP turns into, statue,
and starts flipping through the book.
And then just, okay, that's it. So take a listen to John Kirby and think about the idiocy of this logic. That you have a sovereign country in Iran that attacked another sovereign country in Israel, decided to use all their weaponry to do it, and it was largely unsuccessful, okay? But take a listen to what John Kirby basically says. Well, Israel just needs to be satisfied with how it occurred.
So did he warn Israel not to respond? Did he say take the win, as has been reported?
I think the president was, again, very clear with Prime Minister Netanyahu about the success that they enjoyed last night and the impact that success ought to have.
Saying take the win is not good.
No.
But at the same time, he didn't deny that basically he told...
That's exactly what was
Biden
said.
told Netanyahu, just be done with it. Think about that. Think about that level of weakness where I know you're trying to avoid a global conflict, a regional conflict. At the same time, do you really think that after the Iranians told you they were going to attack, and then you obviously defended the attack, the next thing is, well, now just sit on your hands? That's what they're saying.
That's it. They're saying, hey, we got to get through November. We got way more things to worry about. We got to keep power. We got to get elected. We have other things we need to do. We don't want to continue to look weak because we are weak. So but we want to not be blamed for wars going on all over because we know that's coming, that there were no wars when Donald Trump was president. We know Donald Trump is going to talk about that none of this would be happening if I were president today. And there's a good chance that most Americans will believe him. They're more worried about losing an election than actually taking care of what needs to be done, which is the sovereignty of nations.
How do we appease not only the Iranians, because they want to appease the Iranians too.
Sure.
They want to appease the Iranians, but more it's the folks in Michigan.
Voters.
The voters, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
How do we appease them? We will essentially turn our back on our greatest ally, the only free nation in the Middle East, because we're so afraid of upsetting those voters in Michigan. The ones that support Hamas and at an 80% clip say what happened in Israel in October was justified.
Say what you want to about Donald Trump. And I start every one of those discussions with anybody by saying, let's all agree Donald Trump's a buffoon. And then we all go from there, okay? That's how that goes. But at least when it came to foreign policy, the man basically told you, here's what we're doing and y'all adjust to it.
Mm-hmm.
This goes back to the Obama administration, where you basically have Obama on a hot mic basically saying, hey, let Vladimir know, let Putin know. Once I get past the election, we'll have some options. As far as you want missiles removed out of there, I'll do it, but I can't do it yet. You have these people that make their calculated decisions based on, I've got to have my domestic policy in hand. I can't have foreign policy hurting me because that's going to keep me from destroying the country.
Yep.
And here, right now, Biden, he doesn't have a win anywhere.
Where's the win?
There's no wins.
I mean, that was Kirby trying to walk out and say, well, I know it's bad that we had the Iranians launch this.
But it's better than...
But we helped defend it.
Yeah, right.
Right?
But we expect that, don't we?
But don't tell anybody that we did.
Yeah, right.
Our military is strong enough. I don't need John Kirby. I don't need President Biden. I don't need General Milley. I know that our American troops, our servicemen and women are the best in the world. I expected them to do the job and get it done right and intercept 99% of those drones that were coming. Our military is strong. What's not strong is our leadership, and our leadership is a complete joke, and it's on purpose. This isn't something that we're looking at that go, it was just a mistake. No, everything is done on purpose. Everything is done for the actual photo op or the visual.
You know how big of a deal it was because the national media has been trying to downplay it for the last 48 hours. Nothing to see here.
Nothing.
It was an incursion.
Ineffective.
It was an incursion. The fact that you had a country launch on the Israelis in this way. And by the way, it's a country who has also been chanting death to Israel, death to the United States, and you think it was no big deal?
And so were those voters in Michigan. Remember? Because Rashida Tlaib wouldn't even denounce it over the weekend.
Course.
Those voters chanting death to Israel, death to America. Dude, I'm telling you, we're in bad way. We're in bad shape. If you have a sitting representative who won't condemn that, doesn't have the courage to condemn it, or completely agrees with it, whichever one it is.
Go to True Prep now.
Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. When we come back, Donald Trump has it right again about Iran. You can hate him all you want. He's right. Next on Extra 106.3.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Over the last 10 days, I have the privilege of driving the Bortz bus, towing a car through Atlanta, downtown connector twice. So a few thoughts that I know you're waiting for with breathless anticipation. First of all, nostalgia. Yes, we lived there for over 50 years, 53 for me. And there's a part of us that really wishes we still had a place there. But the property taxes were just unbearable. Second, will Atlanta or the Atlanta area ever do anything about that always there hideous bottleneck I-75 coming northbound through McDonough? If you haven't driven that in the afternoon, take a day off and just go see what it's like. Does anybody have a plan for that? Next, driving northbound, I saw all of the southbound lanes blocked around Northside Drive. In Atlanta, it seems they will block all lanes of an expressway if a lug nut falls off of a trailer. And next, and this is why I'm really doing this commentary, the graffiti. As soon as you drive into Atlanta, you see the graffiti on almost every bridge that crosses the connector. It is dirty, it is menacing, and to people who don't live in Atlanta, it signals danger. This might not be a place you would want to live or do business. Don't give me this art BS. Graffiti is, more often than not, gang-related, and it doesn't say anything positive about the city that you're driving through. Now, there have been many trips through Atlanta over the years. The graffiti was there, is still there, and there doesn't seem to be any effort to remove it. That's not a good way to advertise Atlanta. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Is this the year you want to grow your business? Do you want to expand your team? Build a new office? Hey, it's Tug, and I want to tell you about First Liberty Building and Loan. Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you're dealing with a new person? You won't have to with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they can help you too. They know the patterns, they know the ebbs and flows, and they know business. Now the Frost family wants to know you. FirstLibertyGA.com. Buying a building, building a building, buying a franchise, or expanding. Reach out and spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. FirstLibertyGA.com. By the way, if you're a young banker and you want to work with a team that's faith-friendly with a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to First Liberty Building and Loan at FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
The Kimmer Show is only live on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
University of Texas at Austin getting rid of their diversity, equity, and inclusion department. They laid off all the people who were in that department. So, of course, now the college students are demanding that, saying it was racist and it was unfair, and they were terminated, marginalized groups, and nobody cares about us anymore in America. Also, not only protesting against Jewish people, but now protesting against getting rid of DEI programs because they want DEI because that's now what all the college kids are saying. They hate the Jews and they want DEI, inclusion and equity for a program, period.
Didn't earn it.
DEI didn't earn it.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
This has never happened before. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. They'll start to pick a jury today in New York City to put a former president on trial.
This is the start of the people of the state of New York versus Donald J. Trump.
Fox's Eric Shawn outside the court where in 2 hours.
About 100 people at a time will be called into the courtroom. That's where Judge Juan Merchan will then explain to them about the case and ask if any prospective juror doesn't think they could be fair and impartial. Those who raise their hands, well, they'll be kicked out and excused. But those remaining, they'll be seated in the jury box in small groups. They'll be handed the 42-question jury questionnaire to fill out.
The former president's charged with falsifying business records and payments to keep an alleged affair quiet.
Accused of taking money from the Trump organization to reimburse his lawyer, Michael Cohen, who made those payments from his home equity, and the company then allegedly listed those as legal expenses.
The former president's been ranting against the case on Truth Social this morning, calling it a witch hunt and election interference ahead of his rematch with President Biden. The former president's also trying to delay this trial, appealing a gag order the judge imposed, writing he wants his voice back. Israel's war cabinet's been meeting, discussing a response to Iran's weekend attack.
That included hundreds of drones and missiles. Reports indicate President Biden told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu the Americans will not support or participate in a counterstrike against Iran.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. Most of the drones and missiles were shot down by Israel or the U.S. and our allies. The head of the UN's calling for maximum restraint. At an emergency Security Council meeting, Deputy U.S. Ambassador Robert Wood said the council must condemn Iran
and call for Iran and its partners and proxies to cease their attacks.
Iran says it was retaliation for an Israeli strike in Syria this month, killing Iranian commanders. 2 law enforcement officers are being mourned in New York. A Syracuse cop and a sheriff's deputy shot dead last night by a gunman who was also shot and killed. America's listening to Fox News.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is Medi-Share. Maybe you've heard switching to Medi-Share to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for Medi-Share is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Medi-Share works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 877-64-BIBLE. That's 877-64-BIBLE. 877-64-BIBLE.
I wake up every morning with the Morning Extra.
Tug, Rhino, and Lowe's on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. There is a really great event that we're part of here at the radio station. Pleased to be a part of Back Your Blue in America, too. It's a family-friendly afternoon of fun, food, music, and it benefits the police foundations of Cherokee County and honoring fallen officers. So it happens May 16th, 4 until 8 p.m., Rustics Manor in Woodstock. Event has something for everyone. Got bouncy houses, got a fishing rodeo for the kids, and live music as well. Axe throwing, raffles for the adults, and a day of fun and camaraderie for a really, really good cause. If you'd like to buy tickets or become a sponsor, you can go to backourblueandamerica2.com. Backourblueandamerica2.com. Going to be a fun day and benefiting great folks that serve our community.
I can't wait to be hanging out there. It's a beautiful place out there. I love what Steve Marcinko and his family have done out there. It's going to be a great day, and I hope that everybody supports it.
I think they will. I mean,
I can count on our listeners to support the
for sure. It's already blowing up. I mean, the sponsorships. When Steve reached out most recently, he just kind of gives me a few updates as we're heading toward the event, and the list of sponsors as long as your arm, and people that. Companies that don't even typically sponsor things are sponsoring.
That's
so
awesome.
It just tells you how wholesome, how meaningful that this type of event is. I think the First Lady, Marty Kemp, is going to be there, and they
what
say
time do we have
Governor
to be there?
Coming down. I think we're going to do our show there.
That's what I heard.
Morning,
Okay.
yeah. So we're going to do our show early that morning, and we're going to try to drag Kimmer out there too and get him to do his show. We'll see.
You know, it's different whenever we do and this is mostly on the sports side, where we'll be at like the Mitsubishi Electric Open, and that's a cool event to be out there, and it's cool to see all the professional golfers, and it's just. But there is something different that goes on when you have a charity event and you're partnered with a good company and a good cause.
Yeah.
Like it changes the whole mood of everything going on out there.
Absolutely.
And it makes
Smiles all around.
It makes it much easier when I recognize, hey, I'm handing over my money or I'm buying this beer, but this is where it's benefiting. I'm like, that's just cool.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And I think all of our listeners have that same feeling, and I think that's what Rhino was pointing out too, is that we can count on extra listeners to be out there to support our men and women that serve our community so fearlessly. And this one obviously benefits a couple officers that have been lost in the last few years, and their family and their kids, and just doing good, because there ain't a lot of doing good right now in the world, or it doesn't feel that way. And this is the one little glimmer of hope, and hopefully we can build off of that and make it just a great evening.
We talk about take care of your community.
That's right.
You're not gonna be able
And that's
to
what
help
Steve's
everything.
doing.
Yeah, take care of your community, because when your community's in a good place, man, you feel it. It's regular. You know, that's right. Take care of your neighborhoods. Take care of your communities.
Again, backourblueandamerica2.com is the website if you want to go get tickets or become a sponsor. Backourblueandamerica2.com. All right, so Donald Trump, more often than not, he's gotten it right. And it just continues to be so glaring. Even if you can't stand him, you can't look away at what he said is going to happen as soon as Joe Biden is elected. And all of it, I mean, virtually all of it, Los, has come true.
It has to be so frustrating, because he told you, and this is the part of him that people don't care for, because they think he's being bombastic when he says, hey, your gas is going to double with this guy. And it has. Talks about, here's what's going to happen with inflation. And it has. he's talking about it from a very business aspect. But I think if you want to talk where Donald Trump had it completely right first time around, his foreign policy decisions were outstanding. Again, I can go all about 2020 and domestic policy and what was going on in the spending, but the foreign policy was solid. So take a listen as we have Israel under attack on Saturday. I have not seen anyone be able to respond to this and try and disparage, except John Kirby, who tried to blame what happened on Donald Trump. That was silly. But take a listen to Donald Trump. This could be 1 minute of him basically saying I pretty much told you so.
Have you spoken with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? How should the United States respond? And the same question for you, Mr. Speaker.
I don't want to say who I spoke to, but for the president of our country to actually put out a warning that he thinks that we're going to be attacked or they're going to be attacked, that's pretty pathetic. They wouldn't be attacking Israel if I were president, that I can tell you, and they never did. They wouldn't be attacking. Iran was in no position to attack. They had no money. They were broke. But now they have $221 billion, and they have Iraq, who has $300 billion, and Iraq has become a subsidiary of Iran. With all that we've done, with all of the fighting, all of the death, look at what happened, how incompetent the whole thing is. But I don't want to say who I spoke to, but I think it's a very, very dangerous period. This is a very dangerous period of time in our nation, and a big reason that it's dangerous that we have a president that's grossly incompetent.
Yeah.
Nobody's been able to go back at him and say he's wrong about any of that.
He's not wrong. He's 100% correct.
That's why. But he has to be given these opportunities, and that's the problem with the Biden administration and what's going on in this. They are handing him so many of these opportunities where all you can say is, yeah, he's right.
Well, when you hear the way he just explained that compared to the president that's sitting in office now trying to explain Easter, it's a problem because he can't get through his sentence. He is 100% right. He has been and shown strength so many times that we haven't been able to see any of these kind of attacks. And when he talks about Iran, when he talks about Iraq joining, that's not the only countries that want to join.
Oh, no.
They didn't chant death to Israel. They chanted death to America in our own country. If you want to talk about an insurrection, if you want to talk about the violent people that are here, if you want to look for the next attack, look at the people chanting death to America.
And then the representatives that won't condemn it.
They're voting for Biden, so Biden's taking it easy on them. Let me tell you, if we had a bunch of people screaming death to America on our side, I'd ask them to be arrested and thrown out of here right away.
Get out. But the only thing I want to point out is I feel like we give Joe Biden a pass too much because of his mental faculties.
Well, let me jump into that because that was the exact direction I was going. So you have this attack that's ongoing. You have the White House basically announced we're putting a lid on things, and this was early in the evening on Saturday. So you're like, hold on a second. You have your primary ally in that region that's currently being attacked by Iran, and you decide we're putting a lid on things. You then have the illusion, it was alluded to, that the president was going to speak to the American people, and he's nowhere to be found.
Nowhere. You can't speak to American people, right?
What are you going to say?
Blah, blah. I was there. I was once in Iran.
I mean, this is the issue that occurs when you have an American president who cannot, on the fly, get in front of the American people and say, here's what's going on, here's how we're dealing with it. Because at the very least, even if you have a problematic situation, it does show strength when the commander-in-chief can get in front of the American people and say, this is an emergency, but this is how we're handling it, and here's what's going on. And Donald Trump was doing that Saturday night, and Joe Biden, where is he?
But that's as a citizen, by the way.
Yes,
Donald Trump's doing this as a citizen.
That's the problem I have, though, is that we always say, well, he's not capable. Well, he's not capable. The problem, for me at least, is even if he were capable, he would still be making the same mistakes.
Joe will still mess things up.
He would still screw it up. And I feel like we give him too much of an out because they just send him up there and he says whatever they tell him to say.
Of course.
And if he had his mental faculties, he would still be saying exactly what they told him to say because he has he's always been a failure.
If he wasn't dealing with this, his response to that statement by Donald Trump would be like, well, my son Bo died in Iraq. That would be his response. It would be about him or what we need to do to win an election. It wouldn't be about actually bringing around world peace. We're the party of peace now. The conservatives are the party of peace.
We talked about it last Friday.
We're the ones who don't want wars. We're the one who want to stop funding these wars. They're too tied up. They're too corrupt. And you know what? You establishment Republicans that are playing games and now all of a sudden going, we support Israel here in this state and that state. No, it's not enough, because you should have been up there condemning this from the beginning on October 7th and never allowed the things to happen in your universities, in your states. You've allowed this. You've allowed anti-Semitism to take it to a level where Iran said, this is the perfect opportunity. They've given us the money. Their president is weak. Their Congress is weak.
And
their Senate is weak. And they're compromised, and all they care about is money. Let's do whatever we want. They'll never stop us.
And what do you think it says when you have the response from the Jerusalem Post, who has the story that the Iranians informed Turkey, this is what's going to happen. Turkey informs us, and it still happens.
Yeah, because, who's going to stop them? Who's going to be the big Billy Badass on the corner that says, you better not do this? Donald Trump would have.
Well, Joe Biden tried.
Right, but
he told them don't, and they did anyway.
Don't.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yet they did anyway.
But that's like scolding a child saying don't, and then you don't follow up with anything, and then your kid continues to do it.
But then we even have advanced knowledge, according to the Jerusalem Post, that we were informed, here's what's happening.
I know we did.
And so we got involved. Obviously, they said basically 99% of everything was knocked out of the air. Awesome. But the fact that you had to go to that level and do what you had to do, and then you turn around and go, please don't fire back at them.
You're going to tell us how to be strong?
It's going to lose us an election.
Yeah, don't fire back at the Iranians, because we could lose an election, and you know what? We may not even support you any further. We might not get this funding. May not be able to provide defense to you.
Good for Netanyahu for not believing in America. I'll be honest, I'm glad that he doesn't believe in the presidency of this United States right now. It's a shame, because it's the most important office in the world, that we can't trust the United States. But Netanyahu, continue down this path. Continue going. Do whatever you need to do to protect the people of Israel and to protect democracy, because this is really the protection of democracy, not the lies that the Bidens want to tell you so they can win an election. They're shutting down democracy. They're telling Donald Trump he's not allowed to speak. They're trying to put these fake, all these stupid indictments on him. The truth of the matter is, there are strong leaders out there. We see him in Netanyahu, and he's doing the good job. I hope that we have other leaders that will stand up and support.
I don't know if we will or not, but to your point, Los, is we knew Thursday? Wasn't it Thursday?
We had advanced knowledge.
Yeah, wasn't it Thursday when the story started leaking out and they said, hey, you can expect an attack within 2 days?
We knew.
And we did nothing.
We told them don't do it. We told them don't do it.
I told my son not to put his hands in the water yesterday because he kept getting blisters. You know what he did? Put his hands in the water.
Well, you want another win today? Because over the weekend was a win for Donald Trump. That's what it really comes down to. Mm-hmm. You want another win today? Watch how this plays out in New York with this next fun trial that they're going to do. Because every single one of these communists wants a bite at the apple. And for some reason, they think, here's going to be the opportunity. Here's what I'm going to turn into a win. And none of it seems to work.
Yeah, it all keeps like Teflon Don, man.
I'm telling you, you're going to go right through Saturday. Sunday, I knew from the talk shows when it was only John Kirby and nobody else was out there saying a word.
Yeah, well, except John Fetterman.
I was going to say, except John Fetterman.
How crazy is that? Now, he said we should be backing our greatest ally, which I appreciate. But then he went on to say how great of a president Joe Biden is and how he can't wait to vote for him again.
You got to restore the card every now and then.
Yeah, apparently so. But I was impressed with the courage to go against the grain, even though he's not a conservative, even though I don't agree with him on probably 80% of things. Mm-hmm. At least he had the courage to say, we need to stand beside our biggest ally.
There's some sensible people out there.
What? At least a
little bit.
Well, sanity is a W to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Like when it happens.
It is.
Because I spent the entire weekend reading through like some of the crazy responses.
Oh my God.
Like I remember the people who were trying to tell me that, when we're debating these spending things and trying to tell me, listen, we've had the best bounce back since COVID of anybody and things are great. Like, do you live in a world where you don't require groceries? Do you eat like a rabbit? Like, what are you talking about?
They know.
But that's the deal. It's like when reality hits and they acknowledge reality, that's a win for you. It's a win for me.
It's a huge win because I think people are starting to realize that they've been held hostage by this tyrannical minority, these loud minorities, whether it be the LGBTQ community, whether it be the Black Lives Matter community, or whether it be the pro-Palestinians or the pro-terrorist groups. They're getting tired of it. They're getting tired of the lack of common sense when it comes to governing, and we don't have it anymore. What we have is, well, you said this, I don't care how much sense it makes. No, we're going to vote opposite. It happens on both sides. The establishment Republicans who voted for FISA, the ones that are playing this game for politics only, it's the same thing on both sides. We got to get local. We got to vote these people out. We need more common sense.
By the way, you're having a poll that was released over in the last hour that's now making its way over to Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So you now have, in this New York Times Siena poll, 69% of respondents who say Biden's too old to govern.
Yep.
And 64% of people that said the Trump economy was much better for them.
Absolutely. And dude, that's unreal that so many people are coming to the realization that things were better. And though they don't want to admit it because they hate Trump, you can't, just like you said, do you not buy groceries? Do you not go to the gas station?
Telling you, here's another win today. They're starting to add up.
Yeah.
They're starting to be where the other side is having to quiet down. They're waiting because the only thing they have is, will Donald Trump please say something that they can make inflammatory? That's all they have because the numbers and everything.
Well, they tried that with Bloodbath.
Oh, yeah.
And that went away.
Bloodbath turned into, wait a minute, y'all use Bloodbath all the time. Well, he tried to say Bloodbath, and then there was he says he's going to be a dictator. It's
well, Aunt Peg bought that one, though.
You got a hush money trial. They're going to make everything they can out of that. They thought they had him on abortion. He blew that out of the water. Now they're scurrying about that. Oh, well, he's just flip-flopping back and forth. They're losing on every end because they can't do anything that actually makes Americans go, okay, finally, we're doing something right. The climate change lie, the Inflation Reduction Act telling you that, hey, don't worry about it. We got plenty of money, and they're printing it. They see the gas prices. They can't avoid Bidenomics now, and they are going to fall because of their own named Bidenomics.
I thought about it over the weekend, how much fun it is that as much as it sucks when you're told, hey, inflation's 3.8%, this is how it jumped again. How about that Inflation Reduction Act? I mean, wasn't that supposed to take care of all that?
Yeah. Well, unless
I kind of get the impression it was given a different name.
It is now. It is now. Well, it depends.
It's a climate bill now.
Well, it depends. Because yes, they're right. Depending on the situation is how they refer to that bill. If they're talking about electric vehicles or some sort of, change in the way America uses its energy, they'll call it the Green Energy Bill, right?
Sure,
the new Green Deal. And then when they want to talk about something else, they'll flip the script and then call it by what it was actually passed by.
Tell me where your victory is. Where is your legislative victory?
Their idea of their legislative victory is we've done everything for the climate. We've gone further than any other administration in addressing the climate problems than anyone else. And you know what everybody else is saying? Yeah, of course, just stop oil or whoever those ridiculous, tyrannical minority groups are out there that are blocking traffic, meanwhile getting tattoos, by the way, made of coal ash. But at the same time, these people, they're the ones that are sitting here going, yeah, that's a victory for me. But how small is that percentage? The rest of America is struggling.
Morning Extra at Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. We'll hit the headlines when we come back, and Biden has a laundry list of blunders. Not just stupid things he said and that don't make sense. This is with Iran specifically, and it has led us to where we are now on the precipice of another war. 8 o'clock hour brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts, 770-GET-HEAT and centralheat.com. We will be right back. The Kimmer Show is only on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
Ocasio Bangbango Stupidio, AOC, was on the news talking about Biden's student loan program. Again, he's totally ignoring the law and the Supreme Court decision and everything else. He's going any way he can to get around it so he can bribe people into supporting him by canceling their student loans of $25,000 and more or whatever.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
All right, there's a lot going on today. Obviously, it's tax day, and obviously they're going to do whatever they can to take your money away from you, so you won't be able to spend it on the essentials that you need every single day. You need to start preparing. You see what happened over the weekend. You see that we have weak leadership. We don't know. Our borders are open. We could be ripe for attack at any time. Are you prepared? Is your family prepared? Well, I hope so. But if not, I've got the place for you. True Prep, Marietta, Cobb Parkway. Your one-stop shop for emergency preparedness supplies. Guys, tell them that Rhino sent you over there. If you're new to prepping, Amy, Matt, Joey, all the experts over at True Prep will get you started right away. Seriously. You need to make sure that you have food in case of an emergency. It could be prepackaged, ready to go, freeze-dried food. They'll get you everything you need, set up your basement, set up everything, put it away, make sure you have it. Maybe you want to get really involved in this and start doing it yourself. I've told you it's great for camping. If you have the Harvest Right freeze dryer, you can freeze dry everything, including your leftovers from Mexican the night before, pizza, whatever food you have. You can freeze dry it, save it for up to 35 years, and on non-perishable items, even longer. But what about water filtration? Have you really thought about making sure your water filter in your house won't work in an emergency? No, you need things that will not be attached to power. They have all the water filtration needs for you right there at True Prep. First aid kits, things that will actually save your life. Not like a box store first aid kit. We're talking about first aid kits that EMTs use. And AR-15s, firearms, firearm accessories, and ammo to protect your family, and all at the lowest prices around. Head over to True Prep in Marietta Cobb Parkway. Again, tell them that I sent you over there. If you're new to it, they even have workshops that'll show you how to get started right away. You can visit them online as well at trueprep.com. That's TRU prep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
Hey there, it's Janelle King, host of The Janelle King Show, right here on Xtra 106.3 FM, where we are unafraid and unapologetic. We explore the topics that matter the most. You can catch us on Saturdays at 4 p.m. and encore episode on Sundays at 9 a.m. And catch up on past episodes by going to the podcast park right here at Xtra 106.3 or wherever you get your podcasts every single Tuesday. Until then, stay unafraid, stay unapologetic, and never stop seeking the truth.
My name is Jamie High, and I have worked for Bruce Hagen for 14 years. Why do I work for Bruce? Because he truly cares. He cares about me, he cares about my family, and he cares about each and every one of his clients. Family is important to him, and he never makes me choose between my family and work. He values me as an employee, but also as a person. At our firm, we are all family, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I am Jamie, and I've worked for Bruce Hagen for 14 years because he's the best. Hagen-law.com.
This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons. We've always been Atlanta's best at installing and servicing garage and entry doors, but you would be surprised at how many windows we've installed as well. So we're proud to announce a new division, All Four Seasons Windows. We now have the ability to make sure every opening in your house is safe, energy efficient, and looks darn good. So give us a call today to schedule your free sales consultation. Find out how you can decrease your energy bills and increase the beauty and value of your home with All Four Seasons garage, entry doors, and windows.
At the Piedmont Bank, we're proud to be one of Georgia's largest community banks, focusing on serving businesses and the communities they serve. With headquarters right here in Metro Atlanta, our tailored banking expertise and solutions help meet the diverse needs of our customers so they have what it takes to grow, expand, and thrive. It's what elevates us above the rest. Find a location near you at Piedmont.bank and experience elevated banking for you and your business. The Piedmont Bank. Banking elevated. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911, online at stopmyed.com.
Coffee, keys, and extra 106.3. That's how I get to work and home.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra until 10. Then the Glenn Beck program. Clay Travis and Buck Sexton and the local afternoon show with the Kimmer, Pete and Flounder, 3 until 6 only on the Extra 106.3 app, extra1063.com. Just any of the extensions of this radio station. However you listen is totally up to you. Totally fine with us.
You can listen on YouTube.
You good. You absolutely. On the Extra 106.3 channel. Watch this show. You can watch the local afternoon show with the Kimmer, 2, 3 until 6. So a lot of ways to engage. You can find us on social media at Extra 1063. This reminded me of you a little bit, Rhino, just in the fact that y'all were paddling.
Yeah.
This
kayaking and paddleboarding
and all that. It's a little bit different, but it reminded me of y'all, just the fact that there's a 30-pound cat in Indiana. His name is Thick and Nugget. And they're trying to help slim this cat down because it's 30 freaking pounds.
Wait, are you saying it's because I'm fat and I'm paddling?
No, I kind of felt like you were going after him. Then.
I felt
it's a very awkward attack.
Are you saying I'm a fat cat?
No, I'm just saying y'all are out on the water all the time. That's what I'm saying.
Take this paddle.
Take this paddle. You should paddle more.
No.
So you don't become a fat cat.
You're misinterpreting all of it.
Really, that's the only way I took it.
Okay, well, let me explain. I'm just saying y'all are out getting exercise. You're on the water. It's fun. But cats don't like water.
No, they don't.
Thick and Nugget does not like water. There's a place in Indiana. It's the Canine Aquatic Center, and they're helping this cat lose weight. In 7 weeks, this cat's lost 5 pounds. Laura Novak, she's with the Canine Aquatic Center, and she says, here's the thing about cat swimming.
He tries to protest it first, but he swims so well, and he gets out and just walks around like he owns the place, so I think he actually kind of likes it deep down.
No, I don't believe that. Cats hate water.
I'm all for capitalism, but people have some ridiculous ideas. I love this, though. I mean, get your cat in water. Who spends money to do that? I have no idea. Why can't you just get your cat to chase mice and lasers and stuff like normal people?
Or just let it be fat.
Or stop feeding it.
Maybe slim it down. Maybe don't feed it as much.
When you see a fat pet, you have fat owners when you have a fat pet.
I don't have a problem with a fat cat.
I kind of like the 90s because we had a history in this country and around the world where the more robust you were, the more rich you were.
Yeah, well, but that's just traditional.
That's
traditional. Over hundreds and thousands of years.
That'd be rich.
Then in the 90s, we got into really good fat shaming.
Yeah.
We were like if you were huge, we didn't put you on TV. We didn't put you in movies. There was none of these crazy ads where here's a 300-pound woman dancing in front of me.
See, but now we've gone the exact opposite
Exactly,
direction.
and that's the problem.
That's exactly right. We can't get it right. We can never get it right.
We're failing.
I just had this picture. I want to show you this picture of this cat swimming.
The fat cat.
And it's now it's gone. Where'd it go?
We're tired of the cat.
I
tired
swear
of the cats
my computers
again.
are something wrong.
Can I tell you when I was a bad person over the weekend?
Well, yeah, of course.
So I'm walking into my local QT, and there's a man that I would say of a very robust size.
Okay.
And he had a little mask on. So he had like
a little mask.
The little mask. Like his head was so large
little mask.
that a regular mask looked tiny on him. And all I could think to myself is I'm grabbing my, I think I grabbed like a Sprite Zero and was like, okay, I'm going to grab this was the stop for the sunflower seeds. And I'm walking out. All I thought to myself was, I'm going in there. I'm walking out with like a Sprite Zero and some sunflower seeds. God only knows what he's going to come out of there with.
Right.
And if he was that afraid, maybe you should slim it down a little bit, buddy.
But they don't equate. Because they're so brainwashed.
That was me being a bad person.
Look, this cat before the thing goes away. This cat has like a life vest on.
Well, you need to talk to that gentleman and ask him, hey, why don't we hit this pool together?
Yeah,
we got to slim it down a little bit, man.
We can do some water aerobics.
What is that? What would you have said to him? Like if you were able to say anything to him, what would you have said?
Would I done the Brian Finneran?
Yeah.
Okay, so Brian Finneran, the former Falcon, is the biggest shamer in this entire building, where he'll meet you.
Oh, he'll tell me,
and he'll flat out say, hey, listen, man, kind of getting.
You've added some weight.
I want to drop that off a little bit. Like, I was happy when I played golf with him over the summer. There were no comments.
Okay, so you're in good shape.
Because he knows he's eyeballing you the whole time. He's wondering. So I felt like that was my seal of approval. Like, I'm okay. I'll just keep eating the way I do, and I'll work out because Brian Finner doesn't make fun of me.
I played with them in that Bears Best tournament, and he was right there, and he said, man, I guess you get all your weight behind that swing. That's why you hit it so far.
And he probably didn't mean anything by it, but knowing
No, he
I
did.
think he did.
No, he did.
Okay,
I
never
think
mind,
he
take it
did. But
back.
I'm not that person.
Me
Like,
either.
if you told me, what would you say if you could? I'm like, that's not, I don't do
I
that.
wouldn't say anything.
I don't do that. Yet, there are people like Finneran who have no problem saying these things to people.
I need it, though. Like, I need people to start saying things like that because I'm starting to get motivated. I think the winter, like, really drags a lot of people down. It's rainy, it's yucky, it's whatever. The sun comes out. I'm out every weekend now. I'm going to go out tomorrow. I'm going to paddleboard more. I'm going to work on that stuff.
See, but that's really
but
good,
I need
though.
people to yell
That's
at me.
really good.
I need
I don't
Carlos
know
to be
it.
like, hey, bud.
It's not my thing.
Mix in a salad.
It's not my thing.
But I got Finneran. That's fine. You don't have to.
I go like this. Well, if it makes you happy, it's cool. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you want to work out more, great. If you don't, fine. I just know that when it comes to me, these are the things I'm going to do.
No, I get it. I find, especially in the last few months, like just having the time to do anything but work I can't.
Tony, you got to sneak it where you can sneak it. That's the whole reason why I left the whole gym game.
Yeah.
Which is I did too.
Because even though it was like 10 minutes over there, 10 minutes back, here's the amount of time, it was so much easier for me to get on the machine of death at home and spend my 30 or 45 minutes, quick shower, and I can move on because that's you're right. When you're working or when you have to go pick up the kids or there's just something, it's hard to find a free 30 minutes on a regular basis.
But I'm also like too fat to take the stairs every day. And girlfriend Erin is like, text me. You take the stairs. Take the stairs. And I'm like, yeah. And then I forget when I get here.
Though.
Oh, she's all over it. And she but I'm like, these are little things I can do that are so easy. I'm ramping up to it. Like I lost a lot of weight. Last month, like at the end of summer, and I'm like, I let it all come back. Like in October, I was like, there's Halloween, there's Christmas. I fall into that trap every year. I'm ready for spring.
Is it bad that I'm judgmental on a handful of things? Like that's one of them. Mm-hmm. The other one is we do have our coworkers that when we go to the parking garage and we go to the orange deck.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who goes up the stairs amongst that group.
Yeah, I always walk to my car too. I usually do that.
Yeah, Tug goes the long way.
They take the elevator one floor up,
which is nuts.
I was like, why not just take the three? It's a little extra cardio.
Yeah,
just a little something.
Yeah,
I'm the one who
every
needs
little
that.
bit helps.
I need that, and I'm the one who parks in the one spot. They're like, hey guys, if you can, just don't park down there in the front spots. I park right in them, walk straight.
Can't help it.
Yeah,
can't help it.
It's just habit now.
I'm out of breath.
I'm out of breath.
Listen, get yourself one of those like Polar heart rate monitors.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not crazy expensive. It sits strapped to you, and the one thing that you will see is that if you're in better shape or you're in better cardiovascular shape, how much more your body will burn through calories when you're not doing anything.
That's true.
Like when you're just sitting.
Oh, yeah. Because you're in shape. Yeah,
your body is burning through stuff faster.
Jeff from Atlanta Safe House just kind of said the same thing. Y'all sit too much. Why don't you come move some safes with me?
Seriously, man. He's like, come over and pick this up.
Yeah, you don't want us in
stuff's
there.
heavy.
I'll be sitting in the safe, Jeff. You're going to be like, why is this safe so much heavier now?
Exactly.
Where's RHino, by the way?
There's a human in there.
Yeah.
What machine, Lowe's, if you could recommend a machine to me or anybody listening, what's the best machine to get for home? Is it an elliptical? Is it a treadmill? What is it?
Well, first off, everyone's different as far as like when I did the Bowflex Max Trainer, which now we talked about how Bowflex isn't really going to be doing a whole lot of stuff anymore. The reason why I did is because I needed something zero impact.
Yeah.
Because of the plantar fasciitis. And so a lot of it is just what works for you and what will you stay committed to. Like a lot of people like the interactive stuff now, which is really cool.
See, I'm looking at the Peloton now.
Yeah.
Aaron and I were like,
hey, I can't afford that. Good Lord.
No, well, it's not as bad as you think, and you can find them used. Like we're doing the marketplace thing. That's what we're doing.
Well, how much is used?
$350 for a used one.
Peloton?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, well, you know what ends up happening? Like most people, they get all into it, they buy it, and then they go, I got to get rid of this.
That's how I got mine.
Yeah, so we were looking this weekend because Erin rides 22 miles. Like her and Bruce Hagen, they're in the same group. They
incredible.
ride and do all that 22 miles. That's a little silly to me. I'm not going to get that far yet. Maybe I will. I'd love to be able to do it. But I'm going to start in the Peloton, and I like spinning. Same thing, knees, ankles, my plantar fasciitis that still won't go away.
It takes a long time.
Yeah, I know.
It does. That was the whole reason, RHino, that I initially went that direction because I couldn't get rid of it. I just had to stay off it.
Goodness gracious. Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. There are so many blunders that Biden has made. And I don't mean the falling up the stairs. I don't mean the misspeaking when he can't remember the prime minister of Australia. And he's like, oh, that man down under. That fella down that way. I'm not talking about when he, says stupid things that we highlight and giggle at. I mean, there is a laundry list of actual blunders that are detrimental to the United States and our allies that he's had with Iran.
Yeah, I love the fact that people are starting to realize and see, okay, hold on, these are all the mistakes. I think we've seen it, but the former director of national intelligence, John Ratcliffe, started sounding the alarm on, here's where we went wrong with Iran and handling. Obviously, the $6 billion was huge, but I want to talk about some of the things that we saw. Obviously, October 7th was a horrible, horrible day in Israel. And then after that, because we just sat and played games with it, Biden could not commit and say that he was strong enough to support them. And then obviously we know about these pro-terrorist groups that were putting political pressure on him. We had over 170 attacks. Think about this, 170 attacks by Iran on U.S. forces. What did we do, Tug?
Well, nothing. We told them don't, and they spit in Biden's face. They did exactly what they wanted to do, which we knew they would.
It's a problem. It's a problem. We show no strength there.
It's frustrating because we continue to be the ones on this radio show. Whenever one of these happens, we then document it. We say, well, what are they going to do now? And the answer is really nothing. At least there's nothing that publicly is going to do. And I know they can't be doing anything because they keep happening. If you told me there was like 5 or 10 attacks,
sure,
and that's it, okay. You're going to the hundreds, Rhino. Like hundreds means I didn't punish you for any one of them.
And 100 of them, and maybe 100 of them, nobody lost their lives. But we also lost 3 Americans. What was our response to Iran after losing 3 Americans to this? Hey, don't do that again. Don't.
And yet they continue. So that's the thing. The Biden administration knows that they are going to lose votes anytime they push back, and anytime they defend Israel. So what are they going to do? They're trying to stand on, but they're playing hopscotch right now. I used this example earlier. When they're trying to make sure that they keep the the Jewish vote, they're standing on their left foot and they're trying to stay. And then all of a sudden, Iran attacks and they're over here and they jump on this foot and they're like, well, we can't be too strong because if we come back at the Iranians too hard, those people in Dearborn, Michigan are not going to vote for us. They're screaming death to America. So it is like it's a game of hopscotch with these clowns, and they can't get it right, and they refuse to get it right because either way they go, they're going to lose votes.
And he hasn't done anything to condemn anyone. I mean, besides don't. He's already let the world know. After 170 attacks, he let Iran know they're not going to do anything. They've emboldened, they've empowered Iran to say, what are they going to do? All they keep telling us is, oh, we're going to put sanctions on Russia. We're going to do this. He's failed miserably with everything he's touched. The withdrawal from Afghanistan, 13 American soldiers. What's he do? Sends a drone to attack 10 innocents. They know that this is a complete disaster at this point. These are blunder after blunder that it could get us into a World War III.
So you think that you're busy with Hamas, with the Houthi rebels. You start adding everybody up, Hezbollah. The problem is, it's not that many. It's Iran. Iran is what's funding so much of this stuff, that it's weaponizing this stuff.
By way of us.
The drone technology that's currently in use in Ukraine is Iranian-based.
Yep.
This is where if you want to cut off the head of the snake, then cut off the head of the snake. I'm not talking militarily. Donald Trump did it by just saying, you're not going to get any of this money.
That's right. We're going to.
It's like, and you know what happens when you don't have money? You can't wage war across an entire region with your proxies.
And now their economy, because of all the oil that they're selling to the Chinese and to the Russians and to the Indians, all of that has created an economy that is able to withstand, even if they were to pull back the $6 billion. I think their economy is at like $300 billion now. Of
course.
Under Biden in the last 3 years.
There's a term that we got used to in the early 2000s after 2001. It was state sponsor of terror. That if you were involved in purporting terrorism around the world, we were going to do everything we could to choke off those funds to you because that's how you dry it up. And we don't do any of this stuff.
No.
We don't.
No.
And you're talking about you could curtail Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, just by saying we're going to keep them from having access to this money.
They've attacked everybody, whether they were shipping things, humanitarian aid to, the Gaza Strip. They've attacked every ship out there. They've continued to attack. They continue to support terrorism. And we just sit back and pretend like, oh, Israel's the bad guy. We have aid that is being hijacked by Hamas. What does Iran say? What do we say? Nothing. Our president has been so weak, he can't even stand up and say, hold on, let me tell you what's happening with aid. They're trying their best to let it go, but why would Israel allow their borders to be open to allow this to go through when there are a bunch of terrorists sitting on top of the aid and making sure the people who really need it aren't getting it? Why are we not telling everybody the truth? Because he's weak, so weak, all he wants is power and votes.
We have two issues. First off, this started with the Obama administration, where you can't tell me that sitting and listening to anti-Israel rhetoric in Jeremiah Rice's church for 20 years,
right? You didn't know.
Somehow, when you have pictures with the Nation of Islam, that you're telling me somehow, hey, I respect Israel. I'm really about this. And so now the problem that you have, and you have this over at the border, and you have this now with Iran. If we were to reinstate President Trump's policies, look how much weaker they then look.
Well, yeah.
So they're already like, we can't stand them, and we can't reinstate these policies, so what are we going to do?
Nothing. We're going to say don't, and then they will. Morning Extra at Extra 106.3, 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com.
Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, April 15th. Atlanta police are investigating after a man was shot and killed in a parking lot on Joseph E. Boone Boulevard. Officers say the victim inserted himself into an argument between a separated couple. The man had been shot multiple times and was rushed to Grady Memorial Hospital, where he later died. There have been no word on any arrests. DeKalb County Police responded to what they labeled a domestic violence call and confirmed there was no threat to the greater public after a woman shot in the head and died. Police say 23-year-old victim Shanae Smith was allegedly shot in the head by her 24-year-old boyfriend, Keir Schloss. Smith and Schloss lived in a townhome together. Schloss has not been taken into custody as of yesterday afternoon. Police ask if anyone has information on Schloss's whereabouts to please call 911 immediately. And in sports, Scottie Scheffler closed his Master performance with a 68 to capture his second Masters victory. Marcell Ozuna waited until there were 2 outs in the ninth to crush a slider over the center field wall with a 3-run homer to give the Braves a 9-7 win over the Miami Marlins. The Braves head to Houston tonight to take on the Astros. Darius Vines will take the mound for the Braves in an 8-10 start. You can catch all the action on our sister station, 680 The Fan.
I think I can wrap up that whole segment by saying Ronald Reagan's foreign policy was peace through strength. Joe Biden's foreign policy is don't. Could you imagine which one might work and which one might not? Morning Extra and Extra 106.3, Joy Behar. She going to tell you about killing people. What? On The View. Yes, On The View. Next on Extra 106.3.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Pete, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
We need more prisons. We need more jails. We need more swift, certain punishment. The biggest deterrent to crime out there is swift and certain punishment. That's why I want to see us really streamline the capital punishment laws in this country to where we can convict a murderer, sentence him to death, give them a streamlined 45-day appeal process, and then fry them.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Rolling the dice, man, it's so hard to do because you've worked so hard over the years to save up all this money. But then you have the opportunity to start a business and change the direction of your life, maybe even change the future of your kids and grandkids. That's what that roll of the dice can give you. Now, you got to work hard. You got to be prepared. You got to have a great business plan. And then you're going to need capital, right? You started out with your savings, and now you gotten to the point where your business is right there on the cusp of being something special. And you need that extra push, that extra injection of capital. You go to your bank, they give you the runaround. They're like, sure, we'll loan you money. And then they don't. They give you that runaround that you will not get at First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family have been working with businesses and giving these types of loans since the 90s. If you need that extra infusion of cash, reach out to Brant Frost and his team at First Liberty Building and Loan. You can do that at firstlibertyga.com, firstlibertyga.com. It'll take about 10 minutes. That way you'll know if you're a fit for their program and if they're a fit for you. They understand business. They know it inside and out. They can look at your plan and say, yes, this is something that we can support. So many banks are not willing to do it. They're not willing to give you that extra cash that you need. First Liberty Building and Loan most likely will. Anywhere from $250,000 to in the millions. Whether you need to buy a building, build out a team, whatever it is you need to do with your business, they can help you. But you got to reach out to them. FirstLibertyGA.com is the website. FirstLibertyGA.com.
Hey, sandwich lovers. Today's your lucky day. There's a whole new way to roll for lunch or dinner delight with Nucky's Hoagies in the Roswell Corners Shopping Center. Now open. Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell is family owned and operated by the Sub-Sisters, Stacey and Shannon, whose love language is food and Nucky's Hoagies, their passion. When you bite into a Nucky's Hoagie, you'll taste the difference. The softest hoagie rolls ever, along with hunger-quenching sandwich combinations. Make Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell on Woodstock Road your new favorite spot for lunch or dinner.
Introducing Sonder Health Plans, your trusted local partner for Medicare Advantage in Georgia. Only in Georgia. With Sonder, you'll get comprehensive coverage that's tailored to your needs. They offer $0 primary care visits, $0 premiums, and access to a wide network of Georgia healthcare providers. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com now to learn more about their value-based care that won't break the bank. Or call 888-428-4440. Sonder Health Plans, your doctors, your neighbors, your friends.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
Springtime is here. Looking for a fun weekend with family, friends, and the kids? The Mitsubishi Electric Classic, presented by Venture, Georgia's only PGA Tour Champions event, returns to Metro Atlanta April 26th to the 28th. Pick your favorite hole to watch along the ropes or find public seating throughout the course. Children 15 and under receive complimentary tickets with purchase by an adult. Join the excitement at TPC Sugarloaf in Duluth, Georgia from April 26th to the 28th. Tickets available at MitsubishiElectricClassic.com/tickets.
I enjoy a good night's sleep, and I like to breathe while I'm sleeping. My wife appreciates that, too. That's why I wear a CPAP. You want the right machine. You want expert advice. You want all the supplies that go with it. You get it all at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. Machines, masks, tubing, filters, cleaning supplies, all of it, and they ship nationwide. Walk-ins, by the way, are welcome. CPAPs, etc. Alpharetta, CPAPSETC.com.
What is spacious? Has a versatile cabin, offers an intuitive voice assistant, and luxurious accommodations for up to 7? Meet the 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLE 350 4MATIC SUV. The advanced GLE SUV leaps further ahead with turbo hybrid power, fresh styling, and even more innovative technology. Experience the 2024 GLE 350 4MATIC SUV and lease one today for just $839 per month for 36 months with $63.53 due at signing, exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models. Visit today to see how to qualify. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through April 30th, 2024. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia lemon law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers, or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
Keep up with all of our shows and the latest headlines by following Extra 1063 on Instagram, X, Facebook, Truth Social, and all your social media platforms. Plus exclusive giveaways and more. So follow now at XTRA 1063.
Doug Rhino and Lowe's on the Morning Extra on Extra 1063. On the air until 10. Glad that you're here. At Extra 1063 across all the social media platforms. 404-741-1230 is the number if you'd like to reach out. So, Bill Maher is a guy that we oftentimes disagree with. There's those times, though, that he will show up and make all kinds of sense. I am a staunch protector of life when it comes to abortion. I really, really struggle with it. Bill Maher has admitted, yes, it is murder when you abort a child.
None of you believe it's murder. You know, that's why I don't understand the 15-week thing. Or the Trump's plan is, let's leave it to the states. You mean, so killing babies is okay in some states? Like, I can respect the absolutist position. I really can. I scold the left on when they say, oh, you know what? They just hate women. People who aren't pro-life, pro-choice. They don't hate women. They just made that up. They think it's murder. And it kind of is. I'm just okay with that. I am. I mean, there's 8 billion people in the world. I'm sorry, we won't miss you. That's my position on it. What?
That's quite harsh, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not
Is
sure
that
you're gonna
not
get
your
much-
position if you're pro-choice?
Isn't that mainly because you don't like children?
Maybe that's it. But that's the thing. He said the quiet part out loud. He admitted what I know and everybody else knows to be true. If you kill a baby, it is murder.
And the whole crowd just sat there thinking to themselves, he really does have the largest cojones to tell the people the truth.
Yeah.
He really does.
He does.
But he's also tired of the distraction and the lies. I thought it was very important for him to say, they want to pretend this is about the health of a mother. No, this is the murder of a child. Whether they can spin it however they want, reproductive health, this is for the women,
Clump of
blah,
cells,
blah.
a fetus, not a baby.
He's right.
Change all the language.
I will say this. The one thing that I learned, and you know, last year when the Braves were ending their season, I went out, there was a protest from a pro-abortion group and a pro-choice, pro-life.
Yeah.
And the one thing that the pro-life group, and they are absolute, and I love the fact that they stand by it because they don't see the difference whether a baby is 1 week or 4 weeks old or 6 or later. They don't see the difference. In their mind, it's if I had a 6-year-old, if I just decided that was the number, 6 years old. Well, what happens to a 5-year-old, 4-year-old, 3-year-old, 2-year-old? Their life is not as important at 4 years old as a 6-year-old's. They see it completely different, and they're absolute, and I respect that.
So here's the gross part, and this is a document. You can find this with Jessica Rojas. She went and dug into what the White House and what the Congress did as far as they had a hearing on the selling of fetal tissue. Okay?
So
just to kind of give you an idea as to, wait a minute, this isn't just when you hear, oh, it's about women's health. And yeah, people will say this, but also it's about business. So for fetal brains, each one ends up landing $3,300. Human fetal tissue, $5,950. Upper
These
and
people
lower
are
limbs,
gross.
$890.
Oh, so I'm going to use your word, and this is your word, ghouls.
That's ghoul stuff. That is ghoulish. And so you start to recognize that this is big business for these companies that get a hold of this stuff and then hey, I made my money on the front end, then I make my money on the back end. This isn't just about women's health. If you want to talk about it, there's an aspect where you say, okay, there's murder. He doesn't, when it comes to Bill Maher, have an issue with it because he's not a man with any kind of religion or any kind of moral compass on that standpoint. But then understand the money on the other end of it is also what's being protected. That's the ghoulish part about it.
It is so ghoulish, and we've come such a different, long way. I mean, yes, medical has helped deliver babies healthy. They've helped save women's lives. I get it. I do. I understand that. But, you know, women, when we, go back as far as history as you want, go before medical, women were prepared to die while giving childbirth, but they would do it to give life to something else that could carry on. And that was so, they weren't afraid of losing their own lives. They were happy to be pregnant. They were happy they could get pregnant and have children. We've become so, I guess, selfish. I mean, more than anything else, it's very selfish because your thought is, well, I don't want to have a baby I'm going to have to take care of if, God forbid, it's sick or if it has Down syndrome. I don't want to have a baby because I didn't prepare. I wasn't taking personal responsibility into account. And now I want to finish high school. I want to finish college.
You know how many people finish high school and college with babies?
We're not teaching this. We're not
Brian
teaching it's
Finneran,
okay.
Our coworker
Absolutely.
was playing football at Villanova University and pushed a stroller out on the side of the field.
There's no excuse. Correct.
To me,
You're right.
There's zero excuse. all of it is just that. Just an excuse.
The rape and incest, I can understand. Okay, that's out of your control. Everything else is personal responsibility.
Bill Maher just said what Ruth Bader Ginsburg said in the 80s.
Right. Yep.
She's like, this is about the elimination of people that we don't want to have a whole lot of. Bill Maher told you, it's 8 billion people. We don't need all you here.
And he said, I'm fine with it. But
flat out told you.
As disturbing, as disgusting as, and I try not to use the word disgusting a lot, but as disgusting as that comment is, at least I can respect him for telling the damn truth.
He's actually saying it.
He's saying what those on the left will not say, that people like me that believe in life have said forever. He just confirmed exactly what I absolutely believe.
What do you think communism is?
Yes, I mean, dude,
it's a death cult.
Absolutely.
Sure
right.
is.
Rand Paul calls out Speaker Johnson, and I'm here for it. I feel the same way. Next on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Over the last 10 days, I had the privilege of driving the Bortz bus, towing a car through Atlanta, downtown connector twice. So a few thoughts that I know you're waiting for with breathless anticipation. First of all, nostalgia. Yes, we lived there for over 50 years, 53 for me, and there's a part of us that really wishes we still had a place there, but the property taxes were just unbearable. Second, will Atlanta or the Atlanta area ever do anything about that always there hideous bottleneck, I-75 coming northbound through McDonough? If you haven't driven that in the afternoon, take a day off and just go see what it's like. Does anybody have a plan for that? Next, driving northbound, I saw all of the southbound lanes blocked around Northside Drive. In Atlanta, it seems they will block all lanes of an expressway if a lug nut falls off of a trailer. And next, and this is why I'm really doing this commentary, the graffiti. As soon as you drive into Atlanta, you see the graffiti on almost every bridge that crosses the connector. It is dirty, it is menacing, and to people who don't live in Atlanta, it signals danger. This might not be a place you would want to live or do business. Don't give me this art BS. Graffiti is, more often than not, gang-related, and it doesn't say anything positive about the city that you're driving through. Now, there have been many trips through Atlanta over the years. The graffiti was there, is still there, and there doesn't seem to be any effort to remove it. That's not a good way to advertise Atlanta. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the podcast park. See you around, Atlanta.
Well, Sally, thank you for your time. But unfortunately, we can't offer you the position.
But why?
Well, we got the results of your background check, and we saw some red flags.
Like what?
Apparently, you were accused of dog-napping a Chihuahua named Mr. Cha-Cha.
Mr. Cha-Cha was my soulmate.
At Horizon Background Screening, we find things that other companies don't. That's why companies that use us make smarter hiring decisions. Don't let the wrong hire put your company at risk. Get the real story on your candidates at horizonscreening.com.
Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Extra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
Now, Flounder, let me ask you this. Have you ever known anybody who's had any Willie Nelson weed?
I've tried the Reserve. It's a strong indica, yeah.
It's a what?
Strong? It's a strong indica.
Indica. Now, what? I don't know. Is that from? What does that indica mean?
Indica, sativa and indica. So there's two different strands of marijuana. Sativa, which is more upbeat, and indica, which is more relaxing.
Yeah, you keep playing ignorant.
Yeah, sure, Mr. Bakery.
Shut up.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
Former President Trump is just about arriving at court in New York City. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, for what he calls a rigged trial, the first one in his 4 criminal cases. Firing off numerous Truth Social rants, writing Democrats are cheating in the 2024 election with bogus legal cases, forcing him to sit in court instead of campaign.
This morning, hundreds of Manhattanites have been called for jury selection.
Fox's Eric Shawn outside the courthouse.
Mr. Trump is charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records for hiding $130,000 in payments during the presidential race in 2016, for allegedly covering up his affair with porn star Stormy Daniels. He denies that.
Well, the former president's also still trying to get a New York appeals court to delay the trial, fighting a judge's gag order. The FBI's opened a criminal investigation in Baltimore into the collapse of a bridge taken down after a cargo ship smashed into it last month, killing 6 workers on the bridge. 2 law enforcement officers are dead in New York after an attempted traffic stop last night led them to a gunfight at a house in Salina.
As a result of the exchange of gunfire, 1 SPD officer and 1 Onondaga County Sheriff's deputy were struck by gunfire, as well as the suspect.
Syracuse Police Chief Joe Cecil says all 3 were killed. Israel's war cabinet's meeting now, considering a response to Iran's weekend attack. Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv.
Now, I just got off of a briefing with a top Israeli Air Force official who gave more information about the coalition efforts to shoot down these hundreds of missiles and drones. They did have some advance notice, and that's part of the reason they were so successful in shooting down so many of these missiles and drones.
Now, President Biden's urged Israel to show restraint, saying the U.S. will not participate in any Israeli response. Americans shopped more last month. Retail sales rose a better than expected 0.7%, and a little less than in February after a January sales decline. It's Marathon Day in Boston with a lot of security, 11 days after the deadly bombing. The first competitors in wheelchairs about to start the race right now. America's listening to Fox News.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 877-64-BIBLE. That's 877-64-BIBLE. 877-64-BIBLE.
Tired of all the negative media manipulation? Wake up feeling right with the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
Bonus hour on the Morning Extra. Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10. Download the app so you can listen live and on demand. Here at 106.3 FM, it works good. Here at 12:30 a.m., works good. Streaming, Extra 106.3. That works for you, it's fine too, but if you want the best way, get the Extra 106.3 app.
Technical term?
Good.
Works good.
Works good. That's the Dalton, Georgia technical term. That's straight out of the technical manual of Dalton High School.
Rhino, when it comes to
Dalton College,
to all of your updates and your coverage of the headlines today, I just want to let you know that you work good.
You work good.
I work good.
You work good.
Thank you. Rhino works good.
I
work good.
Front office Los works good.
Front office Los works good with the draft coverage, no matter what people in Philadelphia say.
We're gonna see how this is gonna play out here in the next couple of weeks. I feel like now that I've gotten my taxes out of the way, which it hurts, and I got the draft guide out of the way.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to do a little bit of my coverage work when it comes to these volleyball tournaments.
Right, coverage work. It's like an ESPN reporter.
I'm the only person who is scouting 13-year-old volleyball right now.
If you say that out loud in too many places, they'll be like, "You're doing what?
Like, what you're doing? What?" I'm like, "Yeah, we have a big tournament."
She can't serve.
My daughter came down. No, it's true. My daughter came downstairs last night and she says, "Hey, I got a chance to look at this one team out of New York. I don't think that they're really that good." And I went, "That's what I wrote down too."
You get a little tear in your eye.
I was like, "I'm pretty impressed. You're watching tape." That's
she's going to be like one of the
broadcasters for women's volleyball after her career's over.
She's gotten into
Olympic.
Like
I love it.
She's into it. It's nice when your kids find something, like you know this with your son, and you know that when your kids find something that they're passionate about, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's sports, and I don't feel bad about when she comes to me and says, "Hey, can we do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's take care of that."
Yeah.
You know, if that feeds what you're into, then I'm all about it.
I was trying to explain to my son this weekend because he's like, "I'm not athletic." I said, "You are. You just choose which athletic events you want to do." He's great at baseball. He didn't want to play baseball, so I gave him the out. You don't want to play baseball? Take up karate. Yeah. It doesn't mean
just stay active.
Right. You're still athletic because you're doing karate. You're almost a black belt at 14 years old.
Cool, man.
You play soccer. You're athletic. You may not like certain sports, but keep trying. Keep doing your thing. Find something you're passionate about. He's passionate about those kind of things. Good for him.
Hand my daughter a basketball, and you will go, not everybody has skills to translate to everything. My wife's the same way. She's awful. Like, it's embarrassing how bad she shoots. And I guarantee my daughter has to be the exact same way. She has no interest in basketball one bit at all, and looks awful trying to shoot.
I just love seeing kids participate. I don't care what the participant is.
Right.
I mean, it does not matter to me. It could be ballet. It could be floral arrangements. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
I just want, because it does.
He's an
so
artist
much
too.
fun.
I'm like, be artistic.
Whatever you're into, man, just go do it and be involved, because not only does it give you the opportunity to express whatever it is you like to do, playing baseball or soccer or karate or whatever. But so you have that, and then you have the social interaction, right? Because it's so imperative, and we see that kids, especially after the COVID lockdown, struggle with that mightily. And if you are already well adjusted and participating in things, then that was just a bump in the road. It's the kids that didn't do anything and didn't have that, and now still don't have anything to do or anything to go to, that are still struggling mightily 3 years later.
I had a little tear in my eye, like Carlos did when his daughter said what she did about, scouting and doing that.
Was any good?
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, he was up paddling with Erin, and Erin came back and she said, he just said he can't wait to be a father so that he one day can teach his son how to kayak, how to fish, how to hunt, how to do things. And I was like,
that's right. Got a good heart, man.
That's a good moment.
Yeah, man. And those.
And then I yelled at him, paddle faster. I'm not dragging you around here.
And then end up having to do it anyway.
And then dragged him anyway.
Exactly. The things we do for our kids. But it's good, man. It's those relationships that will carry them for the rest of their lives. And, Jennifer Aniston. Remember a long time ago when Jennifer Aniston, that was probably late 90s, early 2000s.
When she was hot? Yeah.
Yeah. Before
she's still great, man.
Nah, but dude, if you look at her closely, she is a plastic. Looks like just so much surgery. I don't think she's nearly as pretty as she used to be.
No.
So what you're telling me is that a woman, her upper 50s, is not as pretty as she used to be when she was in her 20s on television?
I'm saying I would rather her be a natural woman than be
like Martha Stewart,
injected with all kinds of weird crap.
You don't know that she's injected.
Have you not seen the pictures, man? Good Lord.
Go watch the Sometimes people just age differently.
Go watch that reunion. The Friends reunion.
That's a very
kind
kind way of putting it.
I find her hilarious. And so, like, the amount of times that woman has cracked me up.
Sure.
The Horrible Bosses I can watch anytime, not just because she's her, but how hilarious that character is.
Kate Beckinsale's another. She was my go-to.
Oh, my gosh.
She was
what happened
my
to her?
hall pass. She was she was number one on the list. She's another that's had so much. She looks unrecognizable these days. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
dude,
I want natural.
You've fallen off the board.
I want natural. I love just the nature. I love seeing aging. I love gray hair. I love wrinkles. I love all that stuff. Like, it just shows me a human being the way they're supposed to be.
I agree with
That's
you.
why I like Martha Stewart. That's why I like Roseanne Barr, even though she's got a little work done, but at least she's like, hey, she's still natural in certain ways. I don't know.
The reason I bring up Jennifer Aniston is because if y'all remember, I think it was the late 90s, early 2000s, she did an interview with one of the press outlets, one of the magazines, and she was like, I don't need a man to have a baby. Like, no, right, you don't have to. There's other ways, but that'll make it a good idea.
You need a man one way or another.
Yeah.
No offense, but even if you're getting it put in or in virtual, you still need a man to start that process.
But you're right. But the reason I bring it up is because of all this interaction we just talked about with our kids and how important that is. And if you just go whatever route that Jennifer Aniston's talking about, she looks so foolish. And so, of course you can do that, it doesn't make it a good idea. Kids need a mother. Kids need a father. Like, call me old-fashioned, old fogey. Traditional values are the way to go. And every time, there's not a time that it doesn't show that it's the best way to go.
Absolutely.
Ever.
I think
it never shows.
I learn more every day that, my son needs a father in his life, and he needs those questions answered.
That's exactly right. Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Rand Paul, I watched him yesterday on the, I think it was Maria Bartiromo.
It was.
Yeah, when I was sitting there early, and... we were getting ready. I'm trying to, I guess I had to record it because we would have been at church. When is that on, like 10? So we would have just left for church. I remember it being on. I hit record. So, and then I came back and watched it. And I was like, Rand Paul is seemingly the only person in D.C. that just has the ability to see through the BS.
Yeah.
And that's what he said yesterday. Everything he said to Maria was spot on.
I think the most important thing he said was, and I'm going to quote this for you, what I would say to Speaker Johnson is, hold your ground. Show some cojones. Show some intestinal fortitude, for goodness sake. You've already passed aid to Israel. Tell Chuck Schumer when he's ready to take it up, and it's going to be paid for. That's it. We've already passed it. Start looking at what we've done in the House. Stop playing games again. I think that Johnson right now, along with Donald Trump, is playing politics because they want to win. I know how important it is to have the House. I know how important it is to have the Senate, but there's still stuff out there that needs to be done.
Well, I think it's really interesting how you have Rand Paul going, what is the difference between a House being run by us and the Democrats as of right now?
Nothing.
Zero.
Yeah.
That was his whole point.
That's
and the
his
whole
whole
thing.
point.
And then he said, they're going to go back and say, well, we got to pass a bill that funds Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan. And Rand was so specific in saying, no, you don't have to go about it that way. You tell Schumer, this is waiting on your signature. We will fund our ally as it needs to be done. And we can. It's right there. But don't let him snake out of this. Don't let him back out of this.
But here's the game they play with you. And I think, let's call it the Pepe Le Pew moment. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, we've canceled Pepe, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like
you can't, yeah.
We can't do Pepe Le Pew,
something.
right? Yeah, he was stalking.
Yeah.
He's a stalker.
Yeah, sure.
So the Pepe Le Pew moment, what happens is they go about doing stuff that we don't care for in terms of some of the funding that they're going to do and stuff that's going to pass. And as RHino told you, it's already passed. Here's how it's going to be. Then they will throw out something to you, the Pepe Le Pew moment of, yeah, but you know what? We're going to put some legislation out there where you're going to have an ID to vote, or you're going to have to prove that you're somebody citizen in this country in order to vote. And everyone goes, yes,
That's
thank
what
you.
I've been waiting on.
That's what I've been waiting on, which isn't going anywhere. But they throw these things out there for you to follow along. You got your nose up in the air and you're going, oh, I can't believe that they're actually going to go through with this. It's so wonderful. Meanwhile, the stuff they're really doing is stuff you don't care for.
Right. I mean, when we look at what the House is supposed to be doing, and I thought he summed that up real well. This is Mike Johnson's bill, the $1.5 to $2 trillion deficit that we've added to. He supported that. We've heard Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I love the continuation of her saying, we have the power of the purse. We're able to make this. What they're doing is giving that back to the Democrats. So, yeah, there is no difference between the Republicans and Democrats being in charge. We're allowing that spending to continue. We allowed them to tell us no to H.R. 2 and border security. Mike Johnson worked a deal that was Kevin McCarthy's deal with Biden, and he made it happen, and then he gave the money away, and he allowed them to print and spend.
Whose side is he on?
I don't know.
Because I can't figure it out.
Well, that's the joke. There isn't a side.
Yeah. It's all the same.
It's all the same
all
with a handful of outliers on every end of it.
But his mind is, okay, we're going to do these things to make the American people think we're working for them, that we're doing the job for them because we need the votes. We need to win in 2024. We need to win as many House seats to increase our majority. And hopefully, if we could just get through this part and they think we're doing our job and we're working bipartisanly, then maybe we'll get those votes. Maybe we'll win the House, and maybe that'll translate to a win in the Senate. It ain't going to work that way, though, because people are going to stand up and go, why are you continuing to do this? Marjorie Taylor Greene is the problem, right? That's what they keep telling us. She's the problem. No, she's the solution. She's telling you to stop spending money. She's telling you to do what their constituents want in her state.
It was suggested to me that if Donald Trump is elected, we are definitely going to lose the House. And looking at it from this perspective right now, Who cares? What's the difference?
Right.
What's the difference?
So might as well go full steam ahead and get Donald Trump in there.
So
it ain't going to be different.
I want to make this comparison to something that'll make a lot more sense to people. And I need RHino to be part of this because here's the deal. When you just have like the Masters and you have Augusta National, my wife asked me a couple of these questions. She was like, well, what does it cost to be a member there? And I go, doesn't matter how much money you got. I was like, yeah. And I was like, that's how this goes. Well, why do they wear these green jackets? Well, those are members. Mm-hmm. And here are these people. Well, why don't they do this? Or who are they going to bring in? I go, well, whoever they want.
Who they want.
I was like, they're friends. They're going to bring in
the elite.
They are the elite. Like,
they wear a green jacket to let you know we're the elite and you're not.
She asked me, she goes, well, if you win, like, do you become a member? I go, no. In fact, the golfers are just kind of looked at as, y'all get to come and take part at our place.
That's right.
But then you go home. And by the way, if you win that jacket, we'll let you have it for a year, but then you give it back. Okay?
Now you can play when you want. You call us and come out and play. That's fine.
You ask, hey, I'd like to come in as a former champion. All right, we'll let you play. Can I become a member? No. This is how your government operates, okay?
Exactly
this is how the Uniparty works. We'll let you borrow the jacket for a little bit, but we're going to do what we want to do.
Great illustration.
Hey, how do I get in? Well, that's kind of up to us. And are we going to fund it? Because the parties both decide when you try and rise up through that process and you find yourself suddenly like, man, I might be able to run for senator or I might be able to run for House. The GOP is going to take a look at you and go,
we're not sure.
Yes,
we're not sure. In fact, we're going to give our money to this person instead so that they can beat you because you are a little bit too uniparty here.
I don't know who said it, and y'all can probably remind me who said it. D.C. is Hollywood for ugly people.
Very much so.
I don't remember who said it, but I remember when I heard that, I was like, that is dead on.
The only thing they're missing is green jackets.
Yeah.
But it's the same concept. That exact same thing I was explaining about Augusta to my wife is exactly how DC views themselves.
Well, they just replace it with the pins. You're either wearing an American flag pin, and if you got the American flag, American flag pin, you're in. If you have a Hamas pin, you might be in on the other side. That is the division in there, but they're all the same people.
It's all the same people.
It just depends on what pin they're wearing, but yet they will continue to work together to really take care of the, themselves over the people like us.
Over the people like us.
We're allowed to play. We're allowed to give them money.
Well, play is...
But we're not really allowed to play.
I tried to run down for my wife the amount of people who have tried to become members at Augusta. And the committee and the people have been like, no. It's like, wait a minute. This is the richest person in the world. No.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But at least Augusta makes the rules for themselves. At least Augusta doesn't say, hey, give us your money and we'll see if you can play here like our government does, because that's the game they play. They say, hey, you give us your money, we're going to take care of this club, and we're not going to let you in. But even though the people are supposed to be
outsiders are only so welcome.
Right.
Donald Trump is the ultimate outsider. The
That's
actual
why he's
guy,
not welcome.
The guy who's an actual billionaire, and they're like, no.
He's Bill Gates at Augusta.
Right. Bill Gates tried to get in at Augusta, and they just flat out were like, no.
Meanwhile, Steve Spurrier's like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, Stevie, they bring Stevie in. You fit the mold, Steve.
And they look at it and go, this guy fits us a lot better than this one over here.
Bill Gates.
That loudmouth billionaire out of New York who's telling everybody this is what he's going to do. This is how this works. I just love that as I was explaining that to my wife, that moment of this makes a lot more sense for the audience if you make it and you explain the government in this way.
And in a very easy to digest way that we see once a year in Augusta. We see it. It's like tradition like no other.
But we celebrate the mentality, and I do. I enjoy that it's a private club that's like, here's how we're going to do it.
I love it.
The problem is this is exactly how your federal government works. It's a private club, and you're not invited in.
Paul Begala is the first person to say, or at least according to Politico, said it in the 80s and then became a guy that worked for the Clintons. He said in the 80s that Washington is like Hollywood for ugly people. He called the National Correspondence Dinner, he called that the nerd prom. Dude is so spot on. Look, our politics might not align, but he ain't wrong.
Right. They're the athletes in the Hollywood elite, just ugly or untalented, really, is what they are. And they find a way to go ahead and steal other people's money and make their own money and make themselves richer and richer and richer. And they become more closed off as a club, a private club that stole money from you.
By the way, it was easier for Peyton Manning to become a member at Augusta than it was for Gates.
I love it.
Think about how silly that is. Like eventually we're going to get you, but Peyton, you're more of our culture.
But that's the thing. I like Peyton, and I can't stand Bill Gates. So, look, good for him. I'm glad it works out that way. Morning Extra at Extra 106.3, 9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution for over 30 years. Give them a call, 877-9-SOUTHERN or southernexteriors.co, not .com, southernexteriors.co.
All right, here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, April 15th. Atlanta police are investigating after a man was shot and killed in a parking lot on Joseph E. Boone Boulevard. Good news, new MARTA station coming right there. Officers say the victim inserted himself into an argument between a separated couple. The man had been shot multiple times and was rushed to Grady Memorial Hospital, where he later died. There has been no word on any arrest. DeKalb County Police responded to what they labeled a domestic violence call and confirmed there was no threat to the greater public after a woman was shot in the head and died. Police say 23-year-old victim Shanae Smith was allegedly shot in the head by her 24-year-old boyfriend Keir Schlaus. Smith and Schlaus lived in a townhome together, and Schlaus has not been taken into custody as of yesterday afternoon. Police ask if anyone has information on Schlaus's whereabouts to please call 911 immediately. And in sports, Scotty Scheffler closed his Masters performance with a 68 to capture his second Masters victory. Marcell Ozuna waited until there were 2 outs in the ninth to crush a slider over center field wall for a 3-run home run and gives the Braves a 9-7 victory over the Miami Marlins. The Braves will head to Houston tonight to take on the Astros. Darius Vines will take the mound for the Braves in an 8-10 start. You can catch all the action on our sister station, 680 The Fan.
Another guy I don't agree with often drops a absolute truth bomb on Biden in comparison to Donald Trump. You must hear what RFK Jr. has said aloud. We'll play it for you next on Extra 106.3. Tug, RHino, and Los until 10.
The Kimmer Show is only live on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
But first, insurrection twice today. Jew-hating Democrats shut down the Senate cafeteria right after they shut down a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing this morning. This was an insurrection. They stopped the people's business. The federal building could not get to where they're supposed to go. They were not allowed to do what they're supposed to do. 2 insurrections in one day. And you think you're going to be in solitary confinement for 3 years and wait for trial?
No, they're special. The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons. We've always been Atlanta's best at installing and servicing garage and entry doors, but you would be surprised at how many windows we've installed as well. So we're proud to announce a new division, All Four Seasons Windows. We now have the ability to make sure every opening in your house is safe, energy efficient, and looks darn good. So give us a call today to schedule your free sales consultation. Find out how you can decrease your energy bills and increase the beauty and value of your home with All Four Seasons garage, entry doors, and windows.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911, online at stopmyed.com.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the podcast park. See you around, Atlanta.
Pack your bags and join the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets football team in Dublin, Ireland as Tone Beast Leather to kick off the 2024 football season in Dublin. The Aer Lingus College Football Classic will feature your Yellow Jackets versus the Florida State Seminoles in a special Week 0 matchup on August 24th, 2024. Don't miss this unique opportunity to visit one of the world's most popular travel destinations while cheering on the Jackets on a global stage. For travel packages, tickets, and more information, go to gt2ireland.com. Sting 'em.
Central Heating and Air Conditioning wants you to know the start of the new season is the perfect time to ensure your home's comfort. Don't wait like most people do to have your HVAC system serviced. Your home should have maintenance twice a year. Maintenance helps keep your system running at peak efficiency and extends the life of your equipment. So turn to Atlanta's Carrier experts for your system's maintenance. With Central, you get Carrier products, Carrier warranty, and Carrier peace of mind. It's allergy season, and Central Heating and Air can fix what ails your house and possibly your family with home ventilation and air quality products. Central has packages designed around health using variable speed, fresh air ventilation, air cleaners, air purifiers, dehumidifiers, and more. Central Heating and Air is one of the few second-generation, locally owned and operated HVAC companies in Atlanta. With Central, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. It's been that way since 1947, and they've serviced over 100,000 customers right here in Atlanta. Call 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
Extra 106.3 and Fox are red. CNN and CBS are blue. If you want conservative news and talk, we have just the app for you. Search for the Extra app wherever you download apps.
No reason to watch Saturday Night Live anymore. It's just not funny. But once in a while, there's that little nugget.
What a payoff.
What a payoff. It is, there was a couple things that happened on the show, and I only saw it on social media. That's the only place you need to go to, because there's only a handful of things. Why would you waste, an hour plus when you can just see what you want to see the next day on social? There's a couple things that I saw that made me laugh this morning. It was probably, 5:45, and I'm sitting in here chuckling to myself as...
Is that when you saw it?
The Beavis and Butthead skit?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yesterday morning, my wife and I were just dying laughing.
Dude, it was so stinking funny when
it's so visual. You just have to go look it up.
What's his name? Keenan Thompson.
Keenan Thompson.
Who's from Atlanta.
Keenan Thompson.
And he's talking through AI and this whole segment about how AI is,
it's like a forum, like a TV show forum.
And there's someone
with a live audience.
Looks like a human version of Beavis and then Butthead.
And it's Ryan Gosling.
Which is what makes
with like giant crazy hair.
Right. And then the dude that looks like Butthead, do you know who played that character? Because I don't. And then they sit them together, and Keenan Thompson's just melting down, and whoever's doing...
Well, Keenan Thompson was doing a good job of
holding it together.
Yes. The person who's interviewing him, she's dying laughing. Like it's fun when people break.
Right, you saw
like
that.
Gosling broke.
Absolutely. And when you saw it, remember a long time ago on Van Down by the River, you see David Spade and... Christina Applegate, they melt down as Farley's going crazy.
They can't stop laughing. That's
when Saturday Night Live's at its best. And then Chris Stapleton was on, and he sounded so incredible. He actually did a skit, too. It was a kind of a country-themed skit. Get That Boy Back, poking fun of country songs, talking about getting revenge on their ex, typically like Carrie Underwood tunes.
He's playing with my heart, baby, he's no good. So I took my lipstick, wrote my name on his hood.
Mess with me, I'ma mess you up. So I took my keys to a Chevy pickup. My man left and he didn't treat me kind. Y'all can mess with his truck, I'll destroy his mind. Break into his house, keep replacing his shoes with the same set of shoes, but a half a size bigger every other week. So it's got the boy thinking, all these stuff run around my string.
It's different.
You did what now? I had a whole meal, wouldn't leave her for a snack. That wild woman gave my mama a heart attack.
Mark my words, I'ma get the boy back.
That's so good, man. Chris Stapleton is so incredibly talented, and he can even do it in jest. I mean, he's written so many songs for so many different people and had hits that he's written that other artists actually record. It's so much fun to see artists outside of what you normally... Because if you go see Stapleton in concert, I took my wife to see him over, I guess it was last summer, and she loves his music, but he's very much a George Strait style performer. It's just stand up there, pick and grin, sing the songs, and then go home. Like I was like, what
So he
more
kind
do
of
you
punches
want?
that clock and moves.
Yeah, I'm like, what more do you want? She was like, I don't know. I just wanted more of a show. I wanted to see. I was like, why? Hey, everything he did was a home freaking run.
I know her feeling, because sometimes it's a little bit more like I went and saw, and this was 20 years ago. I went and saw Dave Matthews Band, and they were at that point, they were playing so many shows. They would basically punch the time clock, play their stuff, get off the stage. And I was like, that's fine, whatever. It wasn't until after people were allowed to tour again in 2021, when the pandemic, we got to where everyone was like, wait a minute, maybe it's not that big a deal. So we saw their first show that they got to play, and they had this great time because they were getting to, they had an audience, and they could interact, and they were talking about how much fun it was and how much they missed it. That, I get it. Like, I would love to see what would happen if Chris Stapleton couldn't play for a little bit, then got out there and got to play again.
Maybe. I just don't know, man, because George Strait, it doesn't matter what venue he's playing or when or how or what. Strait's always going to just be straight. I mean, Alan Jackson's the same way. I think Stapleton may have a hint of that in there.
Yeah, he's great.
Which I'm a huge fan of, and I don't care if you jump around. I don't care about the show. I want to see him play the hits. And on Saturday Night Live, he played his number one hit, White Horse, and then a song called Mountains of My Mind. If you don't know that song, go back and listen to it. It is so good. RFK drops a big old truth bomb on Joe Biden. Who is the bad guy when it comes to what's happening in the United States of America? The left and the mainstream media, as the drive-bys, as Rush Limbaugh would call them, they would say, oh, Donald Trump, he's the threat to democracy. And then RFK, like a third base coach, throws up the stop sign.
She asked me, don't I think Trump is very dangerous for the Republic? And I said to her, I can make an argument that President Biden is even more dangerous to the Republic. And she had this kind of astonished look where her brain stopped working.
Yeah.
And I said, the reason for that I would say that is because President Biden did something no other president in history, and a court has found it. A court there's no court that's found that President Trump tried to steal the election or tried to derail the election or tried to start an insurrection. There may be plenty of evidence that he did that. There's no court that's found that. But there's courts that have found that President Biden was censoring his opponents. And not just me, although he did censor me, and I did win that suit, so it's not me making it up.
Yeah.
And by the way, they were censoring me not because I was promoting misinformation. The Facebook people are saying, well, actually what he's saying is factually correct. They had to come up with a new word to describe my post. And the word is it's not misinformation or disinformation. It's malinformation, which is information that is factually correct, but it's nevertheless inconvenient for the government.
And who was he talking about? Erin Burnett from CNN. When he blew her mind, he said he made her brain stop working. She had an astonished look, as he said, because she couldn't believe that someone would say that Joe Biden is a bigger threat than Donald Trump, although we all know it to be true.
Who's in power?
Yeah.
Who's weaponized the DOJ? Who's decided
RFK's point exactly.
As many millions of people who want to flood in this country they can. Who has us on the verge of World War III? Who doesn't function correctly? Okay, how many do we got to go through?
All hands point to the same person, Rhino.
Well, it's easy to see. Go back 3 years when inflation was 1.4%. And look where we're at today. They'll play with the numbers and say it's at 3.5, but even that's not true. We're more close to almost 20% increase in this.
But that's off of,
these are people
9, 5, 3. Right. It adds up.
These people have defended the Biden administration so long, they've actually lost themselves in the facts.
They believe their own BS.
They believe their own BS. That's exactly the best way to put it. And then they watch another TV show that looks just like theirs, just with different people, and go, well, they're saying the same thing. So it continues down that path. The truth is that and this is why I think 2024, you're going to see a very, very upset left, because I think Donald Trump is going to take this presidency because people look and go, gas is not $1.77 like it was when Trump was here. So that as much as the Biden administration says gas prices are coming down, until it's $1.76, you haven't done your job. Inflation, we already talked about it. The economy, more jobs. Everything is a lie and everybody knows it.
The people who were polled And this includes what I want to say it was like 67%. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I saw it on the Gateway Pundit that shows Americans are at this point okay with saying things were better under Donald Trump. Even people that don't like him, they're okay saying it was better under Donald Trump because it was. It's hard to argue. I mean, it's hard to go against yourself. Even when you despise him, even my Aunt Peg despises him, hates him, but she knows that things were better under him. Now, she won't admit it out loud.
Of course not.
But she knows it to be the case.
And Aunt Peg ended up helping hand over this administration to somebody else because she was upset about some tweets.
That's exactly right.
That's what happens to emotional women.
Think about what's more of a threat to people, or what is Donald Trump saying things about Ron DeSanctimonious and calling him that name a huge threat? Or is the fact that you can't pay your bills this month a huge threat to most Americans?
I'm going with the latter.
Grocery prices. Is that a big threat? Or is it what Donald Trump says? Or the lies that they tell about these court cases that continue to get thrown out? People will go back to 4 years and say, hold on. Homeownership was up in this community. Homeownership was up in our community. We were able to afford our bills. We didn't see this ridiculous inflation number. We weren't being forced to do things against our will. The social media companies were not weaponized against us. I don't know.
You want the rundown?
It's pretty easy.
Pretty good tweet that's there.
Yep.
He stole the election. He let our troops get blown up in Afghanistan and checked his watch during their funeral. He forced us to be part of a science experiment. He locked up and tortured those who questioned the legitimacy of his election. He arrested his political opponent. He groped women and children. He sexually assaulted Tara Reid. He showered with Ashley. He blew up the Nord Stream pipeline to start World War III. He forcibly vaxxed our military and fired all who resisted. He destroyed the dollar. He allowed an invasion of our southern border. He sold the influence of his office to China for millions. He's a traitor to this country and one of the most evil men to ever live.
Hear, hear. Amen and hallelujah.
Which part of that is wrong?
None of it. I don't know who posted, who shared that.
It was the fired up TX lawyer.
Okay. Well, TX lawyer is exactly right.
Paul Davis.
Yeah, go on, Paul.
But that's just running it down.
He's just giving you the play-by-play.
So Aaron Burnett, when she's going like, what do you mean more dangerous?
I don't know how she misses it.
Well, she's embarrassed that you haven't believed her either, or her organization. A lot of these organizations are upset that you no longer trust them for your news. You no longer trust them for the truth. I don't trust Fox News for the truth.
Nor do I.
So the left will go, yes, I trust MSNBC. Yeah, I like The View. They're right on. They got everything correct. These people are delusional, and they can't even look at their own family and go, it's okay, the economy's great. And the rest of your family's going, but I'm going to live with you because I'm your kid. I'm going to live with you until I'm 40 because I can't afford a house.
And that ain't changing anytime soon. And board op Joe Virgin Rivers in the producer studio giving us the double thumbs up.
Right.
He's living it right now.
Yeah.
He's living it right now. And
if it wasn't for his parents, he'd be living on this couch.
Dude, I'm telling you, I am fearful too of what the future's going to, so many reasons.
The boomerang kids.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
Dude. Absolutely. And it's not because I care for my son coming back home to live, just like Joe Virgin Rivers' parents, because he's about 4 years older than my son.
Well, his father said some stuff to me about trying to get him
don't
out,
say it out loud because he's listening. You don't want to hurt his feelings. I mean,
my bad.
I mean, that's ugly, Rhino. I can't even believe you brought it up. But seriously.
Write it down so you can read it.
Yeah.
Pass it around the table so we can all laugh. Just don't say it out loud. But no, there's that part of me that's wondering what's going to be out there for my own son.
Yeah.
Because it's not like Joe doesn't work his tail off, because he does.
It's legitimate. You have to look at where this is all going. And when we talk about the youth vote starting to move in a different direction, I think it's that realization that when you hit about 21, 22, you were really idealistic at 18, 19, 20. Mm-hmm. Hey, real world's creeping up, and you start looking around going, man.
You start getting less idealistic.
This is not looking so good.
Yeah. Now, I've seen it happen a million times. You just get less idealistic as you get older, because when the real world kicks in, things aren't nearly as pretty as you thought they may be.
It's not as warm of a bosom as you've been told.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's not,
and who doesn't love a warm bosom?
It's not so friendly.
That's true.
Morning,
Joe. I love Joe's warm bosoms.
Joe has found us as his warm bosom.
That's right.
Could you imagine, Joe, if you didn't have us?
Yeah. What would you do?
Oh, man.
Oh, man. I would probably just be living with my parents without a job.
Yeah. I told you.
Only slightly more depressing.
we had the numbers.
That's right. He's not wrong.
Now, I would be happy because he'd have a beard instead of that stupid mustache, because he could afford to shave with the rest of it.
I don't know. But when we had the numbers, when you look at 20, 30 years ago, you had 1 in 5 people 18 to 24 who didn't have income. It's now essentially you're looking at 1 in 3. So when only about 66% of 18 to 24-year-olds have income, 33% do not at all, not a dime.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
Like, that's a hard number to get to.
And don't get me wrong, Joe Biden has made it even worse, but we were trending in that direction for a long time. Joe Biden has put the punctuator behind it. He's put the exclamation point behind it. Morning Extra on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Final segment of the bonus hour. Let me show you why UFC is so popular right now. I don't even normally watch UFC, but I've become a fan of a lot of their fighters, and I'll explain to you why next as we wrap up the Morning Extra. Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10 on Extra 106.3. Did you get all the beeps in this?
We'll find out soon enough.
Atlanta radio legends collide on Extra 106.3. The legend Neil Bortz is live every week with Atlanta legend The Kimmer. Because when you get these two guys together, who knows where we'll end up?
I am shocked. Well, not that shocked.
The Kimmer is live on your drive home every weekday afternoon from 3 to 6. And now Neil Bortz joins the show every week. And if you miss it, catch up anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
The Atlanta Braves invite fans to come experience the brand new Blue Moon Beer Garden at Truist Park, located in right field, offering the largest variety of Molson Coors beer options and unique food pairings. Plus, there's a special ticket offer for the new space for any weekday game during the regular season. Tickets are only $30 and include a grandstand reserved game ticket and $15 added value to use toward food or beverage. Lock in your seats now for Blue Moon weekdays at Braves.com/Blue Moon. Atlanta Braves baseball. We are Braves country.
Neil Bortz here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, cpapsetc.com.
Do you know that most people describe remodeling as stressful? Does that sound like your experience? Hi, this is Candace from Exovations, and have I got a tip for you. With Exovations as your partner, you'll get a completely different remodeling experience. How? Well, besides covering the very basics like showing up on time, cleaning up your property each day, not smashing your flowers or bushes, and not pressuring you to buy today because this huge deal expires tonight. We also cover the big things like a written project schedule so you know when workers are coming and when they're not. A fixed price quote so you're guaranteed that what you pay is exactly what you committed to up front. And a design of what your home will look like so you're not left guessing if you're even going to like the finished product. Discover what stress-free remodeling looks like and schedule your free quote today at exovations.com. That's EXOVATIONS.com.
It's a mad world out there, but one thing is certain, everyone is trying to market something. So tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. to the Marketing Madmen, who, along with a variety of industry expert guests, can help you make sense of it all. Whether you own a business and want tips to scale, or are a fan of the finer things in life and want to know how restaurants, golf courses, and wine companies try to sell you stuff, the Marketing Madmen is your ultimate destination for all things marketing. Tune in right here on Extra 106.3 every Saturday at 3 p.m. or search online for more content. Join the madness with the Marketing Madmen.
Is the tax deadline causing you anxiety? Searching for elusive 1099s and trying to uncover any exemptions? If so, you're not alone. Every year, Georgians find themselves looking backwards to file with the IRS, reporting tax history. But what if you were to flip the script? Not just report your taxes, but actually planning for them. We're Master Plan Retirement Consultants. We're local, with offices in Marietta. We work with folks just like you to create a personalized, tax-efficient strategy designed to last a lifetime, a crucial piece to the holistic retirement plan. Do you have a retirement roadmap? You should. It's never too late. Visit masterplanretire.com. Don't wait any longer. Visit masterplanretire.com.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
This is Poll Paris with Fox News Director of Polling, Dana Blanton.
In this year's presidential election, both sides are calling the other a threat to U.S. democracy. Here's President Biden talking about his GOP opponent just just last week.
What, in your view, constitutes the primary threat to freedom and democracy at home?
Donald Trump. Seriously.
And here's former President Trump on April 2nd.
Because Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. He's the threat to democracy.
And most of each candidate's supporters agree this is a high-stakes election. Our latest Fox News National Survey shows that among Trump supporters, 61% believe re-electing Biden would end our democracy. That jumps to 76% among those describing themselves as very conservative. Among Biden supporters, 72% say electing Trump would threaten our country's way of life. That climbs to 83% among the most liberal voters. No threat here. You can see all of our survey results at foxnews.com/poll. I'm Dana Blanton, and that's your Poll Parade.
Election coverage is more than polls and numbers. It's about what matters in your life and your community. And Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station cares about your community, your voice, and most importantly, your vote. So keep it all here for the latest and download the Extra 106.3 app and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra, final segment of the bonus hour. We wrap up at 10, but don't be afraid. There's great conservative content coming just behind us at 10 with the Glenn Beck program, then Clay Travis, Buck Sexton, then the local afternoon show with the Kimmer, Pete and Flounder. They're on the air from 3 until 6. Jesse Kelly after that, then Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon. I just ran across something before we get to the UFC fight, and y'all gonna have to tell me who this man is.
Okay.
Because I don't know, and I know y'all watch, and y'all will know who he is when I play his audio. But I just saw this as someone I'm connected with on social media. He was in the military as a young man, like I was, and now he's gone on, had a good adult life, a good career, and has retired from a company that you would recognize if I bring up the name of it, but I won't. But he posted something that stood out to me, and it breaks my heart to read this to you. It says, I was once willing to give my life for what I believe this country stood for. Today, I would give my life to protect my family from what this country has become. So many veterans feel that way. So many Americans feel that way. And that is the sad state of where we find ourselves in America. Is it worth the fight? Absolutely. Where else are you going to go? I was talking to my mom about this the other day. She was like, I'm so scared about what's happened to America and what we're leaving my grandkids to. She's got 3 grandsons, and she's horrified that they're going to get sent off to war. She's horrified that they're not going to be able to make a living under what is insurmountable debt, just all the craziness that's happening. And I talked to a man this weekend who was a former Air Force guy, and his son was a former Army guy. We just happened to hit it off. Y'all know how I like to talk to people.
Sure.
We were just talking about silly nonsense, and this came up, and he had the same exact feeling, just like what this man that I'm connected on social media with posted. Just unbelievable. Today, I would give my life to protect my family from what this country has become.
Ugh.
It's just it should give you cold chills. It should just make you uneasy to no end. And then I see a man that fights on UFC. I was going to say UCF. UFC. And I don't know who he is. So y'all please tell me before we play this. Tell me who this man is.
So this is a Brazilian fighter, and it's Renato Moicano. And this dude was, understand the timing. So you have early prelims, followed by prelims, followed by the main card, which is always then your pay-per-view. So your early and your prelims are always available on free television, typically through ESPN, ESPN Plus. So this was the very first fight of the evening. This was 6 o'clock, and I actually had it muted. So when he started talking,
oh really?
So I saw this live.
You know what
I saw everything leading up into the main fight card. Like I was just saying, hey, watch the Bobby Green Jim Miller fight. It's like 3 fights later. It's a lot of fun. So take a listen. Again, I got it muted. I don't know what he's saying. Just Joe Rogan comes up to go talk to him after he's won this fight. It's now 2 in a row to start off 2024, and he starts telling the people about what they have in this country.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and own guns. I love it. Property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, I'll read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfucker.
He's very passionate. He's very passionate.
That man was telling you, you'll lose it if you don't learn about how to respect it and keep it.
Now
And
let's
he's
talk about
exactly right.
Yeah, where's he from?
Venezuela, right?
He's
that
Brazilian.
What
Brazilian.
Brazil. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's going on in Brazil and the things that continue to happen in Brazil are a real reminder of why he's happy to be here every day. I have a lot of friends from Brazil who are so happy to be here and will never go back because of the communism. But you know what they do now? They see what's happening here and go, now where do I go?
But think about what's happening in leftist countries around the world. Think about Canada. If you say something, if you misgender someone, they can come arrest you. Was it Scotland? Wasn't it Scotland that passed the same thing?
I believe so,
Because J.K. Rowling went after him and said, come arrest me, I don't care.
Yep.
So there's these leftist governments around the world, and there's plenty of in South America. I think, what is it, Brazil that's trying to kick out X?
Brazil is basically trying to get rid of any sort of speech that they look at and say that's contrarian to what we have as far as the top of our government wants.
And we believe. So it's leftists around the world that is trying to limit what you can and cannot say. If you can control the speech, you control people.
And by the way,
and that's what that man is saying.
He also brought up, I love property.
Yes.
These things that they're seeing, how the government seizes this stuff from you. We were on, and we're maybe still on, the precipice where, remember, just going back to 2020, 2021, you legitimately had an administration and a president who told me, if you don't go get this shot, this experiment, well, we'll see what the power of the government can do to you.
And we will unleash it on you. It wasn't even a thinly veiled threat. It was a straightforward, we will come after you.
Meanwhile, the administration also, because this is basically administration Biden versus Missouri, you had them going, you're using the power of social media to cultivate a message in order to push an agenda, and you're pressuring social media to do it. Like, I'm telling you, that is that level when that fighter is telling you, watch out, this is how this stuff happens. It was already started to happen. We just found ways to push back.
If you were able to listen Friday, great. If you were able to listen to the replay, great. I thought it was great listening back to Paul Harvey. And, the more I thought about it, the more I realized this gentleman would understand it because he sees communism every day. And I was going back to okay, that was the 60s. They were going through the communist idea and seeing communism kind of rise its head here in this country. Paul Harvey was able to see, wait, this is what communists do. It's easy to say, if I were the devil, this is how I would handle this because this is what the communists do. This man sees it. He sees the start and the unraveling of this country as the one free space left in this world.
I just like that because the deal is after every single fight that you have, Tug, you then have, and for these bigger fights, like this one was in Vegas and this was UFC 300, for the bigger fights, you have all the headliners. So you have Joe Rogan, who does the post-fight interview and the post-fight talk.
That's big time.
And sometimes that's the opportunity for guys to talk about, hey, have me on your podcast. Here's who I'd want to fight. Here's who I want to call out. This man decided to use it to make it a pro-American discussion with his limited amount of time. That's how he feels about what's going on in his home country and what's happening here.
And then, if you recall, on Friday, we also played Lily Tang Williams. She was the one that schooled David Hogg after the big event that he did with our guy Spike Owen up at
Dartmouth.
Dartmouth, thank you. She was like, I'm from the live free or die state. I have seen communism up close. I have seen what happens when you take the Second Amendment away. And it will happen here too. She's like, I will die before I give up my Second Amendment right and my firearms. This is a Chinese woman of Chinese descent. She's not, like when you think of NRA, that's not who you think of.
No. Here's the difference.
Yet she believes in it.
She believes in it, but you know what else she believes in? The fact that she came here legally, she immigrated to this country for a better life, and she appreciates that better life compared to the people who are coming here for free.
Amen.
Who are coming across here,
Just
who
like
don't really have respect for this country, nor if they did, they would have come the right way. They don't care. They're here for another reason. So to see these people come up and say, I came here because there is a better life for me. There's a better life for my family, and I want to be a part of it because I know that those two people that you just brought up, if it came to it, they would fight for our freedom more than some of our own Americans who were born here with a silver spoon in their mouth and now decide they're Stop Cop City protesters living on their parents' little money and their funds and living in their basements. These people care.
I just wonder that when you're exposed to a certain amount of pressure, like all of 2020, 2021 made me just turn into the person that said, I'm caring less about sports, I'm caring more about this stuff. And so it was very natural for me to come over to this radio station because I recognized that talking about who was the pitcher in the fourth inning of a game in July was just,
it's fun.
In comparison,
it's fun, but it's not addressing the actual things that will affect you, your family, moving forward.
And so, but the opposite effect does happen, where you will have people that will decide, man, I really can't stand this country. You know what? Communism does sound good. What if I'm able to give my piece of it? There's just a reaction that people have based on their exposure. Like, I would like to think that Goey is probably even a harder worker of saying, man, if I just keep doing this stuff, then this is the life I can make for myself.
That's exactly
Whereas
right.
some people go, no, I'm checking out.
I'm going to finish where I started with the guy that I follow on social media, Jeff Riley. I was once willing to give my life for what I believe this country stood for. Today, I would give my life to protect my family from what this country has become. You are not alone if you're seeing and feeling the same way. We all are. Is it worth fighting for? You're absolutely right, because where else are you going? It's like Ronald Reagan said a long time ago, where else are you going? You better be ready to stand up and fight for what America is and what it can be. For RHino, for Los, for Goey, our board up. My name is Tug. Y'all come back now, you hear? Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Xtra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
Ever eat in your car so you don't have to share with your children? Every day. Get ready for flatbread.